What's up, YouTube? It is your boy Sanchez 405 coming at you. It is on the Warpath, y'all, and we've got a little bit of a roundtable discussion this evening. We've got JD from Redskins Rant. His link is in the description. Go check him out. He's got a lot of good stuff over there, and we got Amir as always. But before you do anything, make sure you like, you subscribe, and you share this video out. We greatly appreciate it. And also go over there and like and comment on a video and subscribe to JD as well. So we are going to get right into it. JD, thanks for being here with us this evening. I know we got a lot to cover. So how you been, buddy?
I've been good. Thanks for having me, guys. Just working and trying to survive the pandemic, so to speak.
Yeah,
and just can't wait for some sports.
There you go. Well,
you mean that ESPN, the Ocho's not doing it for you?
No, but I will say that you guys ever heard of marble racing on YouTube?
Oh God, is
the
that
Marble
a thing?
Olympics? It's a Marble Olympics. I would check it out. It's funny.
Sounds like it's on the roll.
I mean,
and they yeah, good one. But
yeah, it's been kind of funny because I have people that have told me, like NASCAR's been doing the e-racing, and they were so fascinated by it. They were like, they're doing this thing that's like that, like they act like they're in the cars and they're racing and everything. And I'm like, you've just described PlayStation and Xbox. That's been around for like 20 plus years. Like that's nothing new. And they're like, no, but they're racing with the wheel. I said they were doing that in the 90s, but. Just shows you the generational gap there. What's up, John Lynch? What's up, Big D Money? So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about quarterbacks. We're going to talk about free agency. We're going to talk about some linemen who probably won't be with the Redskins anymore. We'll go over the draft, what we expect to see on Thursday through Saturday, and then we'll all wrap it up with a bow. But first of all, we will start off with the big thing, and Amir's got this one, talking about the hottest contestant. I think DC just has something with it when it comes to quarterback controversies, whether you look at like Billy Kilmer and Sonny Jurgensen, you can go to Jay Schrader, Doug Williams, Rex Grossman, Donovan McNabb, RG3, and Kirk Cousins, just to name a few right now. But, you know, Amir, there's been a lot circling around Dwayne Haskins. And, you know, he had an up and down year, drafted to a team that really didn't want him. So just talk about what you saw out of this cat last year and what you thought about him.
Well, we talked to ad nauseum about this a little bit, just in text messaging, of how I saw improvement, how each game he played and how the game went on. I saw him improving and adjusting, and that's the most important thing. For a quarterback, I didn't care that the team that he himself was had a 2-5 record as a starter. It was that he learned as he went. I'll say it as this: Peyton Manning went 3-13 his rookie season. Now, not saying that Dwayne Haskins is Peyton Manning. I hope Dwayne Haskins is Dwayne Haskins, and that he will continue to learn, and apparently he's been, all over the, as much of the playbook as he's allowed to get, and he's been all over trying to work out and just improve his own health and his reads and everything, and just doing the best that he can with the limited resources he has right now, because he hasn't been able to, go out and be at a full practice. They haven't had an OTA yet. They haven't had a mini camp yet. They haven't had anything. And it's more likely that they probably won't have anything until training camp. It's probably treating this like if it was a lockout year, which, in Redskins history, that's actually a good thing. But I
very
think,
true.
No, yeah.
Stats wise, he was, again, he was a 2-5 as a starter. Appeared in 2 other games that were losses. And then he went 119 of 203 for a 58.6% completion rate. He had over 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 1 for 1. but and then it's hopefully going to keep improving from there once he has a full off season, and then we're hoping that he underneath Ron Rivera, underneath Scott Turner, it's going to get better. Terry McLaurin's still there, great breakout rookie that from Ohio State that helped him out a lot. There's also a what am I thinking of? I think the main thing with Haskins is his maturity, which he's 21 years old, I believe. He was
23. Yeah.
He's young. He was born in '97, and the fact that somebody that I'm watching somebody who was born 8 years after I was in the NFL is astounding to me. Makes me feel old as hell.
You are.
And this is also true. And it's just.
Well, I feel is 10 years younger than me. So
yeah.
I think you were talking about Steve Sims, weren't you?
Yeah, Steve Sims, I think is going to be really good for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's Kelvin Harmon started to come on towards the end of the year. I like what we got in Hale Henches, although we still need to upgrade at tight end. OJ Howard, what's up, buddy? Now that Gronk is officially part of the Tampa Bay Patriots, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we're just hoping that Haskins will mature eventually, which I think he will. He had that lapse moment when it came to the Detroit game, for example. The Detroit game where they couldn't find him to take the kneel down. And I guess he thought that time had expired, and that's why he wasn't on the field. And he was seen taking that selfie, in which they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video must be worth 1 billion. So.
And you make mention of that, and you said that was a subject in the media last week, was the fact that he had reposted that, the word polarizing has been brought up between Dwayne Haskins, the media, and whoever, which now is it polarization because he's arrogant, or his confidence, or is it a mix of both? That's a big question. And JD, I'll let you go ahead and answer that. So, what is it? Why is he so polarizing? Why does the media not like this kid as much as a fan or something, or even some typical fans don't like him as a quarterback? Why is he so polarizing to you?
I think it's just because he's the quarterback in Washington D.C. I think every quarterback we have, even Kirk, was polarizing. Before RG3 was polarizing to an extent. If you look before that, we were split between Rex Grossman and John Beck. So it's always a polarizing when it comes to the quarterback in Washington. Even when we had Alex, some people thought Colt would be better fit to run the offense than Alex Smith. It's just the way the media is with Washington. I think that's more or less what it is. We need something to talk about, and the Wizards suck, and we want the Redskins to be good. You have the Capitals winning a championship. You have the Nationals. But the staple team out of Washington is the Redskins. You can say what you want. All of them are second fiddle to the Washington Redskins. Yep. The Washington Redskins win a Super Bowl, there's not going to be even a comparison of the type of parade we're going to have when the Washington Redskins win a Super Bowl, if they win anytime soon. It's not even close. So, in any way, shape, or form, it's not even close. So, I honestly don't judge him on the bad stuff from last year. I look at the good stuff and say what's built on it. Like the media thing, it happened one time. If it happened every game, that'd be an issue for me. If it happened one time, he's a young kid. He's going to make that mistake. I don't have an issue with it. If it happens a lot this year, that's going to be an issue. I look at, like Amir said, the more games he played, the better he got. The last two games he played Eagles, and we were winning that game. We were right in that game. And then I was at the game against the Giants, and he played great in that game until he twisted his ankle. And
There
I
was
actually
somebody
feel
else
like
in
the
that
team.
Giants game. I can't remember who it was though.
Hey,
Not
shut
really
your
I
that
think it
mouth.
was
He did
Corey.
it. He did it right in front of me. I was in that
I
end
know.
zone when he did it. So I was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
please get up."
Yeah, but what I feel like the team after that, the defense finally got a stop after that. The offense came together. I feel like the team rallied around him. So I think he actually won the hearts of his teammates the last few games. And I know he didn't play the last game, which I understand why they didn't want to risk it. But I feel like he won the hearts of his teammates. So like I said, I don't take the bad stuff out of last season. He didn't get a full season. Jay Gruden never even gave him the attempt, or never even gave him the attention he needed when it comes to learning the offense. And that's kind of the problem with drafting a quarterback and bringing someone in. And this is why, and I'll go ahead and go on this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I personally believe they brought in Kyle Allen is because it's not because they don't think Haskins is going to learn the offense. I think it's because they don't have to. They literally can spend 90% of their time teaching Haskins the offense, rather than bringing in another quarterback and have to split that attention between their starter and their backup. Mm-hmm. They did that last year, and it didn't work well at all because you had to teach. Case Keenum had like 70% of the attention to learn the offense. Colt was still getting attention because he's Colt, and then Haskins got maybe 20%. So they want to go all in and go.
Colt was still getting attention because he was injured. Still, they still didn't know if he was going to come back from that leg injury.
Very true as well, but you gotta know he's also Jay Gruden's pet. He's Jay Gruden's his favorite player that ever played for Jay Gruden. So he was going to get the opportunity. He was going to get reps whenever he had the opportunity, no matter what. So and the way I
know that, going back real quick, and sorry to interrupt, JD. Just that
you're good.
In 2014, had Colt not hurt his neck and got on IR, 2015 season would have been he would have been named the starter before Kirk was.
Yeah. I believe that. I 100% believe that. But I don't think we got Kyle Allen to come in here and play and start over Haskins at all. I think he's here because he knows the offense, and they can focus their attention on Haskins. Because here's the thing about Haskins. We have to go all in on Haskins this year and figure out what he is.
Yeah.
If we don't figure out what he is, we can't take 3 years and figure it out. Mm-hmm. By then, if we take 3 years and we figure out he sucks, Rivera's not going to have a job, and we're going to be resetting this whole thing over again. That's what's going to happen. We have to find out if he's good, bad, or the third option is the worst option. Best option is he's ceiling. He's a Ben Roethlisberger. He's 35 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 4,000 plus passing yards. I could live with that. I don't know about you guys, but I could live with that. That's better than Kirk did.
Yeah,
I could live with that absolutely. And if in the way our defense is looking, if we can do that and our defense looks good, I think we're going to have a solid season. If he sucks, let's say he starts 12 games, because if he starts all 16 and sucks, that's kind of stupid. But 12 games and he has 12 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, we know that in 2,500 passing yards, he sucks. That's actually not a bad case scenario because we can move on to Trevor Lawrence or another quarterback next year. But as long as we stack the team around him, we're either setting him up for success or the next quarterback. And in the third case scenario, which is the worst case, and I would hate for this to happen, is he plays 2 games and gets injured. And then we have uncertainty, and we're not going to move on because we have no certainty on what he is and is not. So that's my thing with Haskins. So I don't take anything bad away from it, but I do think we need to go all in. Even if it's only 20 plays, and he only knows 20 plays from the playbook, the first week, run 20 plays. I think it'll be more than that. I think if he's the quarterback we think he is, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback, I really do. I was not sold at first, but after watching him a couple times in a couple games and starting to watch some game film on him, I realized he is reading defense, he's doing things right. I think, if we give him the right attention and do everything right, I think he'll be a good quarterback. But if he can't memorize 20 to 30 plays and get that down pat, even with the way things are going with the everyone being quarantined, he can still video conference with the coach to understand the difference in play calling. He can understand the verbiage. Those things can still be done. The only thing he's going to miss out on is actually live action, like practicing the plays. But I still think it should be enough that he should start day one with, even if it's a small playbook, 20, 30 plays, and just add on to it every week, just like we should have done last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, 110%.
And it comes down to
Yeah.
experience as well, because I mean, look at he only played 1 year in college, and that's a big thing. Is you only played 1 year in college, and you have 7.5 games total, because depending on when I think in the second half on each of those 2 games.
Well, think about it this way too.
And so,
oh, sorry.
7.5 games is not a you can't judge somebody off 7.5 games. If we did that
Right.
with Kirk never would have gotten a chance to start, and he never would have. We never would have had the. You like that game? We wouldn't have won the division that year. All besides it was a bad division. It's besides the point, we still won it. So I mean,
Well, think about it this way. In 3 years, he's gone through. He had an offensive coordinator in college,
mm-hmm.
a head coach, and he goes to the pros. He has a new head coach, new offensive coordinator. That head coach gets fired. He has a new head coach. Then you have that, and then it goes from Jay Gruden to another offensive coordinator. Now he's got another head coach, another offensive coordinator, all in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you got I think you got to give him all the attention that a quarterback needs, especially a franchise quarterback. That's why I don't think it's not like you can bring Tom Brady and throw him the playbook and he'll know it the next day because he's just that good. This guy's going to need all the attention we can give him, and I think you got to give him all the attention, all the weapons possible. So.
And I think another and an undersold point is that they say it in the media a little bit, but Dwayne Haskins beat out Joe Burrow at Ohio State. I don't think people understand that, to the fact that he went to the SEC where you get all your tools handed to you and everything like that. Ohio State's that way too, but he beat out Joe Burrow, and I don't understand that. Should be a feather in his hat. I'm not saying that should be the do all end all, but he did enough that where Urban Meyer and Ryan Day, they thought that he should be the starter, and you just don't throw 50 touchdown passes on a whim. I don't care how simple the offense is. You don't throw 50 touchdowns. That's not simplistic like that. No matter who you're throwing to. So
if you heard the interview on with Urban Meyer, he said if you give him talent, he'll put that kind of stuff up again. He straight up said that. He said if you give him talent, you put a decent team around him, he'll put that kind of stuff up again. So you just gotta. That's why I said you gotta buy. I trust Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
I would trust. That's like if Nick Saban came in and said you need to draft. Yeah, I think even if Nick Saban would say draft Chase Young because it's that good. I mean, you just got to trust guys that have been around football that long. So.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And so we'll see what that is the variable. That's one of the biggest variables this season is how he's going to do this year. And like I said, I think as far as Kyle Allen goes, you give somebody that he can work with as well as a backup. Because the way Ron Rivera presented Kyle Allen is he's a team player. He's going to be the soldier that's going to help. He's going to compete, but he's going to be the soldier that not necessarily to learn above Haskins, that Haskins can learn with. So I think that's that's a underselling point right there. But with that, and you talked about adding some tools and surrounding him. This has been something that you've been high on, JD, is the fact that the performance in the free agency pool. And Amir and I, we've talked about this a couple of times, that this fits the mold of a Ron Rivera free agency. We did add a players, and I'll let you go over who we added in the offseason so far.
Okay, so far in the offseason, we've added it. No one really crazy. We haven't done crazy with a lot of ads. But probably our biggest acquisition was Kendall Fuller, cornerback. We actually had him, traded him away to get Alex Smith, and then got him back. We got Thomas Davis. I believe was it a 1-year contract?
Yeah, 1 year.
I think it's a 1-year contract. One I'm actually kind of excited about, Sean Davis. He played in Pittsburgh last year, and he's out of Maryland, correct? Yeah,
yep,
he's out of
that's
Maryland.
Right.
We also signed Kevin Pierre-Louis. I think he played for the Bears last year. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're right. All right, the linebacker.
Linebacker. Ronald Darby, we acquired from. We signed him, but we didn't. But he played for the Eagles last year.
Mm-hmm.
Good player if he can stay healthy, and that's the biggest thing with him. If he can stay healthy, I think we have a decent player, especially if our defensive line's decent We re-signed John Bostic, so we did reacquire him. We signed Logan Thomas, tight end, who played for the got a touchdown on the Redskins actually last year out of Detroit. We also signed Wes Schweitzer, offensive guard, played for the Atlanta Falcons last year. Let's see, I'm going through the bottom of the list here. Cornelius Lucas, he played left tackle. He's a swing tackle. Swing tackle for the Bears last year. J.D. McKissick, Peyton Barber. So we got 2 running backs in free agency, 2 cheap running backs. Let me throw that out there. See if there's anyone else. We re-signed Nate Orchard. I actually like that signing. I actually like Nate Orchard. Cody Latimer, we signed him. I believe he played for the Giants last year, right?
Yeah, he was kind of a deep threat for them.
Yep. Yep. So we got him, and I don't know if I'm missing anyone.
Did you say Richard Rodgers? I don't know.
I did not say Richard Rodgers, but yes, Richard Rodgers is on there, and he's from Green Bay. He's been injured the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. He
So,
was in Philadelphia last season.
I'll just give my 2 cents on our free agency. Overall, I don't think we did horrible in free agency. I mean, we did get some needs. But if you saw my video, I had a much different plan for how we could completely rebuild this team. Getting rid of players. There's some players on our roster I still wish we got rid of. But we did add a decent amount of players. We re-signed Brandon Sheriff. That's a pretty big acquisition. We franchise tagged him. We phrase that.
Franchise tagged him. He signed his franchise tag. He has not been.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he has not signed a long-term deal as of yet.
Not yet. Who did we lose? So we lost. Who did we lose in free agency?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's addition by subtraction right there. Not that he's a bad player, but he just can't stay healthy. I mean,
Norman.
And I don't think Reed hasn't been picked up either. So.
No, he hasn't. I think he's working with he's doing like off the field work for somebody else. I don't remember. I think there was an interview with JP Finley where he was talking about like working with the Redskins draft office or something. I don't know, something like that. For some reason I remember hearing that. Who else did we lose? Vernon Davis retired, so we lost him.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We lost
Case Keenum, Colt McCoy. Let's see.
Yeah.
Burton, the fullback.
Oh, the big one to me is Eric Flowers. That's the big one to me. So we lost Eric. We lost Eric Flowers. That was the big one to me. But other than that, I don't think we lost Josh Norman. But that was another addition by subtraction. So
right.
But the big one to me was Flowers. I think we found the perfect position for him, and I think the Redskins could have paid a couple more $1 million to keep him, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Anyone am I missing, guys?
No, I think you touched the bases pretty much on that. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys. I'll ask it, and I'll kind of give one answer myself. We'll kind of just go around, and everyone pick one. We can go as long as you guys want. Who do you think we missed out on in free agency? I'll start first. I think we could still go for this person, Logan Ryan, unless he's been signed that I'm not aware of.
He's not.
He's still free.
I think we could still go for him because I do not trust Ronald Darby, and I think he would definitely beat out Fabian Monroe. And I think we have the cap space. We have $20 million plus in cap space, so I think we could definitely afford. And him opposite Fuller, I think would be
cap space. Like I could have sworn we had way more than that.
Oh, we do. I was just rounding. It's $23.85 million to be exact. I have it up.
We had like at least. I thought we had at least like close to 50. Where we spend 27 million?
Well, Brandon Sheriff was that was $15 million.
That was $15 million. Yeah, I get that.
Fuller this year he's $13.5 million. No, I'm sorry.
Cap? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, $13.5 million. I'm looking right at it. I'm at the over the cap website.
Right.
Yeah.
Big numbers, man. Big numbers.
I see.
Thomas Davis was $3.7 million. Sean Davis is $3.5 million. Mm-hmm. A lot of us thought that Ryan Kerrigan was going to get restructured, and he never did. Which I understand why he's not been restructured now, because they didn't plan on spending a lot of money in free agency anyway. Kevin Pierre-Louis was $2.9 million. Ronald Darby 2.8. Bostic 2. We didn't spend too much. Like we had a lot of money, but that's what it says on the website. Maybe there's something I'm missing. We did cut some players, so we had a lot of dead cap. So Paul Richardson was $6 million in dead cap. So we have $12 million this year in dead cap. So you got to add another $12 million on top of that. So we were down to $36 million, but you got to take out dead cap. So good news is next year we get Alex Smith off our books. There's a lot of money right there.
And if we get all day by then too as well, because whether
actually if we don't actually next year, if you look at the new CBA, if Trent Williams doesn't play this year, his contract's not up next year. He can still he will be on the team again next year. That's why it's important that we trade him this year.
Defensive turn.
Do what?
Yeah, gotta get rid of that.
So, like initially before the CBA was signed, it made sense to hang on to him because at the very least, if he walks next year, the Redskins get a compensatory third-round pick. But now with the new CBA, he can stay as long as he basically can do this every year until either the Redskins trade him or buy out his contract or cut him. And if they cut him, it's the same as buying out his contract. So
yeah. In all honesty, we probably wouldn't get a third rounder compensatory for him just because of his age. We'd probably get more like a fifth.
That's a different topic for actually that might be the next topic. But okay, so who do you guys think I think we missed out on Logan Ryan or Ryan Logan Ryan? Yeah,
Logan Ryan. You're right. Yeah. I'd probably even to say we missed on this guy is kind of I don't know. I'd say Amari Cooper just because of how much money they put in front of that, which I was shocked they threw that much money out at him for somebody who can be a little, be hit or miss, and he, when he catches the ball and stuff, he disappears in big games like he did in New England last year. That was a big game for Dallas, and
Eagles.
And
for the division.
So he was playing like he was playing for the Raiders again. But I say we missed out on him, but I don't think a wide receiver of that. Now, if you talk to DeAndre Hopkins was in free agency and you gave him offered him $120 million, I'd probably say, yeah, we missed that. But we missed him, but I don't think we'll miss him, if that makes sense.
I think we dodged a bullet.
Yeah, no, I do, and I agree with that. And I think the same thing for probably who Amir's probably going to think we missed on. But who do you think we missed on, Amir?
I think you're about to be right now.
It doesn't rhyme with Cooper.
No, it doesn't? Oh, because it does. Mine does. It's Austin Hooper.
I think we missed some too. I agree with you. I mean, based on how much money we've spent and how much money we have left, that's why I would say that. But
they did. I mean, they got the best thing about this team last year was they didn't have depth at positions. They added depth. They've added competition. That linebackers room is going to be full. The defensive line room is going to be full. Those were two things. Now, if we're saying for health's sake, why the hell do you sign Ronald Darby? Why do you sign Sean Davis? They've had those histories.
Why do you sign Rich Rodgers?
Right, exactly. Why do
you don't sign Eric Ebron?
Right.
Yeah, Eric Ebron.
Yeah, who's down in Pittsburgh. But, I think that there is a method to the madness. And, I like what they did. I do like what they did overall. And I would – you said kind of like giving them a grade. I give them B+. That's what that they did good. They didn't do great, but at the end of the day, what is great when it comes to free agency? It's if you look at the stats, I think it was Pro Football Focus that puts up when you get these high dollar free agents, they usually aren't as effective as they were with the previous team that they earned that check from. So, I say B. I'll give them a B+. I'll give the Skins a B+. Anybody else want to take me out on that?
I say it's a B. I wouldn't give him a plus. The reason why I don't think I think it's a B is because it's one thing if we didn't have the money to spend. The way we're spending money, it's if we didn't have the money, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But we have almost, if we get rid of Trent, we have almost $35 million, $37 million in cap space, and I mean that could be money used towards a legit left tackle replacement. It can be a legit. I don't mind spending money on young players, like guys that are like 25, 26. It's when we spend money on 31-year-olds or 30-year-olds or 33-year-olds. That's what I don't like spending money on and giving long contracts to those guys.
Yeah,
I don't like Austin Hooper was like what, 25, right?
Yeah.
A 4-year deal with him, I'm okay with because at the end of his deal he's 29, so we pretty much got the prime out of him.
Right.
Plus we might be able to sign him to a cheaper deal after that because it's beyond his prime, but anywhere where he's like young, but like signing like a 30-year-old to like a 4-year deal for a lot of money, I don't like. But if they're young, I don't have an issue with that. But I get what Ron was doing. He doesn't want to like go all in now because next year, if Trent's gone and with the money we have now, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the difference in the cap roll over next year on top of what the cap already is?
That's correct,
that's
sir.
right. That's right. Yeah.
So if we're like 20. So if we're 20 million under the cap next year, if the cap goes up like 240, we get another 20 million because we were under the cap 20 million this year, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So we actually we'd have like 40 million.
And what's the
space.
projection of a Brandon Sheriff too? What's his cap number going to be to that if they're planning on signing him to a long-term deal?
That might be why he's okay with the franchise tag because next year his value is going to increase because right now his percentage of our salary, what percentage is it? He's a X. Let's say he's just X percent of our salary, and then his salary increases. He gets X percent more because he's X percent of the salary because he's been valued at that much. If that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's probably why the franchise tag didn't bother him. Mm-hmm. So next year when it goes up, and let's say his value is like 20 or 10% of the it's not 10%, but let's say it is 10%, and it goes up to 240 million. He gets that increase from 14 million to whatever. So, yeah. But that's why it probably didn't bother him at all, knowing that the increase of Redskins cap space and the increase of the overall league cap space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, quick thing. Got a couple questions here. I said it earlier, but I'm gonna say it again because he's a big supporter here. Skins fans all day. Thank you for stopping by, brother. Jay Martell. Go follow him if you haven't. I would say Jay Martell said this, and I'm just going to be this because I can do this. I got it. I would say we missed out on Logan Ryan and then Austin Cooper. So is it? I'm not trying to be funny, but is it Austin Hooper or
Amari Cooper?
Or Amari Cooper? But yeah,
maybe we missed out on the duo.
Yeah, the Austin.
Yeah,
Cooper,
that's it.
Cooper.
Technically, we did. They were off for both, so I mean,
that sounds like that sounds like a crazy old man. Like, oh, there's old Cooper Hooper over there, and
well, why don't you just call him Chooper?
Yeah. Oh gosh. And then our good friend John Lynch said, "What are your thoughts on Leonard Fournette if he came to the Redskins?" Amir, what do you think about that?
Leonard Fournette. I mean, he's a good running back. I think he fell off really the past couple of years though. Since his rookie season that he did really well in. I mean, part of that is that the poor guys in Jacksonville, and that's just, bottom 5 teams in the NFL. You're going to have the Browns, you're going to have the Jags, you're going to have the Redskins, unfortunately, right now. You're going to have the Buccaneers, and we'll see what Tom Brady does with them, and then you probably have the Raiders. You guys, the bottom 5 teams in the NFL. Would you guys agree with that?
Pretty much, yeah.
So, I mean, with those... Cincinnati, that's right. I mean, with that, I don't know. I think they want too much for him, and we don't have the draft capital this year.
Yeah.
Now, I do like the proposed trade that Louis T put up in his mock draft the other day. Did you guys see it?
No, I hadn't seen it.
Okay, he put up a proposed trade that I think makes a lot of sense. And what it is we trade Trent and one of ours, and both of Trent and I think our fourth rounder, our compensatory fourth rounder. No, we keep it. I'm sorry, we trade Trent for Riley Reef to the Vikings, and we also get like 2 fourth rounders in return or something like that, or a fourth and a fifth. So I liked his trade scenario there for Trent, because I mentioned this to Corey a couple weeks ago, JD. But who was Trent Williams' favorite quarterback he played with?
Kirk.
Yeah,
Family
definitely.
member.
Kirk family member. That is
Family
his favorite
barbecue.
You know, that's his favorite quarterback he's played with. So why would he not want to go to Minnesota and guard for his guy again?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't make him happy. That's what I say. That's how I can be. I'd be petty in that situation.
I mean, we're on that topic of trade rumors for Trent. I would go for the I've seen 2 different trade offers for on the Leonard Fournette thing. I wouldn't do it. Just me. I wouldn't do it. He's too. We already have enough injury-prone running backs. We don't need another one. But for Trent, the trade rumor I've heard is 2 fourth rounders and I think a fifth, and Riley Reef for Trent. If they make that like their third round pick and a late fourth, like I saw one, I think it was on Louis. It was on someone's mock draft. It was Riley Reef and a late third and a late fourth, and that was the trade. That one I would do in a heartbeat. I would love to give a second for Trent. I don't think we're gonna get that. The only way I think we might get that is draft day. If the top 4 or 5 the offensive tackles go off the board, and someone's looking for a starter now, Trent's better than anyone you're gonna draft after like the top 4 left tackles in the draft. And he's had a year off, which means you can look at it and say he's rusty. I say he's healthy. That's the way I would look at it. And he's had an injury proneness the last few years. I think that would help rectify that if he's had a whole year to recover. A whole 2 years, if you want to look at it that way, almost. So, I would do that one. I don't think. Do we play the Vikings this year?
No.
I don't think we do. So I would do it because we're not gonna have to worry about it, except maybe in the playoffs. But I would do that one in a heartbeat. I would do that trade in a heartbeat if it's a low third and because we got an early third, so we don't need another. We could get another early third, I guess, but. If someone traded like a second round for him or the pick I just mentioned, that'd be the best pick, the best trade I think we're going to get. Not to mention, we wouldn't have to worry about drafting an offensive tackle to start now in the draft. We can draft one that we can have a year to sit behind Riley Reef while he plays 1 year. Or he could play 2 years. You never know. Different scenery. Sometimes guys change. Look at what happened with Eric Flowers. He comes to the Redskins, and all of a sudden he's revitalized his career, and everyone thought he was not going to play in the NFL anymore, and he was a bust and all that jazz. So you never know. He could come here, and all of a sudden he's got value again, and we have him under contract for 2 years. If we don't like him after this year, we can cut him and save $10 million. So,
right.
Movement there, And the biggest news event was, especially now in Tampa Bay, but Amir and I are about to be going out trading O.J. Howard, trying to get O.J. Howard and maybe in that tight end spot. He's had a mixed bag of success, and it could be possible that, he's like 2 something, and he could add a big target there. And he's dealt with a lot of different famous and Fitzpatrick. That was his pass there. So the question of that being is, do you get any draft picks out? Or do you want draft capital out of that? Because you probably won't get that much draft capital, and you'll get a tight end who is somewhat unproven, but he's a physical specimen.
He was a first round pick. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So he hasn't really proven worth as a first round pick. He's only amassed over 600 yards once in his year career,
He was
and
on
only
pace to get
Because
800 2 years ago, but he got
he
then
injured.
came
got
out.
hurt.
Did he come out in 17 or did he come out in 16?
17, I think. I think he's been in the league 3 years. Is that right?
I'm looking.
Yeah.
Because if this is his fourth season, he might be a free agent anyways next year. If they don't
2017.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
So this is his fourth year, final year of his contract. I don't think they picked up his fifth-year option. They would have had to have done so already. So in that case, then if they don't franchise tag him, he would be a free agent in 2021 anyways. If you're in rebuild mode right now, do you want to spend the draft capital or just be patient and wait till he's a free agent?
Are you asking me?
Both of you, yeah.
Well, as of now, OJ Howard is better than any tight end on our roster.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed.
even if it's for a 1-year rental, I wouldn't go up a draft. Now I would trade Trent for OJ Howard like a fourth. I would do that. I would trade Trent for OJ Howard and maybe a third. I think that's the ceiling for that trade. Maybe a third, we'd have to swap them, give him a seventh or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But OJ Howard is better than all the tight ends on our roster, and his salary this year is only one. I think it's only $1.47 million. Yeah, that's what it says on here. So he's not too costly, and if he works out, we have the capital next year to sign him. If he doesn't work out, I mean, it's only a 1 year. So the only downside to it, like you guys said, it's only 1 year, and you have to kind of rely on he wants to stay, or you never know. Maybe we have success, and he's like, I want to stay here, and this is the right offense for me, yada yada yada. So, but I would say he would be good, and here's why I say he could be good. Bruce Arians' offense is not friendly to tight ends.
No.
So that's why they do good this year.
Nope.
Now, if you think about it, Greg Olsen had a very good success.
Had a hell of a success up there in Pittsburgh.
Do what? Yeah.
Heath Miller had
yeah. Greg Olsen had good success under Turner's offense. In Carolina. So I would say that'd be a more comparable to what we're going to get out of him than what he did under Bruce Arians.
Right.
So that's just the way I look at it. I think we can get a little bit more. I think we'll get a little bit more out of him than Bruce Arians will, just because of the way the offense is designed. If you look at the way the offense is designed, this is why I don't think Dwayne Haskins is going to do too bad. We're going to focus on running. He's going to send McLaurin and Sims to stretch the field vertically, and we're going to check down to tight ends to do like a 5-yard comeback and sit in the middle of zones, and we're going to check down our running backs. That's exactly how the offense runs.
Yep.
So if you take away they have to take away McLaurin and Sims, so they're going to stretch the defense, they're going to stretch the corners, the safeties.
Yeah.
They're going to open up the middle of the field, and then they're going to check down the running backs if they're not open. So that's why I don't think Haskins is going to have a hard time this year. That offense is very simple to run. So,
yeah.
And if you get the right tight end, right tight end that can just sit in the middle of that zone and catch the ball without dropping it like Jeremy Sprinkle does, I think you're going to have a lot of success. I think Howard could thrive in that. Not to mention, go ahead. That's my tirade about it. So, I look at the offense. I just see the good fit. So.
Right, and I mean, with the tight end and Turner's offense, Sean Alexander, you had Wesley Halls, who went to a Pro Bowl. So, I mean, and if Scott's anything like his dad, which the offense is pretty similar, you're going to see success there, and think that it would be worth it to go after OJ Howard. Just for the fact of the matter, it doesn't matter. I don't care anymore about what you can get for him. You just got to get rid of Trent. This is classic symbiosis right here. You are turning Eddie Brock into Venom now, and it just it's consistency. You got to get rid of him. Midskin, to our appearance, Amir and I have said this. They pandered to Trams. They fired the medical staff. They got rid of Bruce Allen. They've got a whole new coaching staff there. What else do you want? Time out of Dodge. Move on. And, you don't have that voice in that building anymore, or stigma, that aura. You won't have it in the building. So I think you, at this point, get what you can get. I don't think you really want to hoard him anymore, because I think that's more of a testament to issues with the culture of the old regime. So, but that's just my take on it.
My biggest issue is oh man, how do I put this? The guy held pretty much held the franchise hostage last year.
Yeah.
He held the franchise hostage. He created all these issues, and then he wants someone to pander him. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just not someone I would. Right. I know, but now he wants the new head coach to crawl on his knees and beg him to play for him.
No.
And instead, the new head coach is like, you know what? I'm going to go with the character guy that I know, and I'm going to talk to him into playing here, rather than someone who turned his back on his. I understand he had an issue with Bruce Allen, and everyone has a issue with Bruce Allen. You're not the only one, Trent. Get over that. Everyone has an issue with Bruce Allen. And he had an issue with the training staff. Okay, you bailed on the head coach that's always had your back, even when you took steroids and you had to miss games and you're always injured. You bailed on the owner who's always had your back. You bailed on the fans that have always had your back, even when you were suspended, even when you were injured all the time. You bailed on the franchise altogether, who paid you millions of dollars after you lost, after you were suspended for 4 years or for 4 games for using steroids. All those things, and people still, all those things happened, and the team and the franchise still had your back, and you made it so petty that because of one prick and a couple trainers, you let it get to the extent it was. I'm sorry, but I hear Redskin fans on like the Facebook groups always being like, we need Trent back. I'm like, no, he needs to be gone. That's just not an attitude you want. Do you really want that around your rookies? Do you want that around your young offensive lineman, your rookie quarterback, getting his ear, like poisoning the lock? I don't understand why we want that around. And the other issue also is he is costing us $14.5 million. We could replace him for $14.5 million on the free agent market right now. We could have done it earlier in free agency. But in any way, shape, or you're okay. But in any way, shape, or form, we could have replaced him in free agency with $14.5 million. Mm-hmm. There's someone out there, even Riley Reef, I think is like $12 million. He's actually cheaper. That if we trade for him and get draft picks, we fixed the Trent Williams problem. We kind of put a Band-Aid on our left tackle position and moved on. I just want to be done with it. I don't want to care. Like, I hear people say we need to wait till next year until we get like what we want. Like, no, don't want to wait till next year.
No.
And this is not
the Redskins
knock at Trent Williams, but get the cancer out of the locker room.
Yeah, exactly. No pun intended. But the
Redskins.
The
Redskins have out-Redskinned themselves.
Yeah.
The Redskins have out-Redskinned themselves. They thought they'd be smart last year, and they thought they would just hold out. Someone probably offered like a first and a third, like, oh, we can get more than that if we just hold out a little bit longer. And now we might have to settle for a third-round pick. The Redskins have out-Redskinned themselves, and it didn't help that Trent opened his mouth.
Yeah, Amir, who told you that last year that the Redskins weren't going to get like a first out of him or a second?
I mean, I said that too. So I said that as well.
We're talking about on us when it first.
I got you.
Yeah. I think it was a person that rhymes with.
This guy, that guy right there, this dude, the dude right there, that guy, that brother right there told you.
That cat.
Or this guy right here told you that. I told you. Listen to me. I could see into the future. I knew this was going to happen. But no,
thank you, Sanchez Damas.
You are welcome. But I think we're all in agreement here. You just gotta cut your losses down and get rid of, sell that stock in Trent Williams, send them over to a new company and get what you can out of them. And but do
you think you should just cut him?
No.
No, because somebody's going to want him this
somebody
weekend.
will want him.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Now, if you come out of this weekend and he's not traded, he's still on your roster, I'd probably just cut him at that point, or wait till June 1st, depending on how the
You can designate it for June 1st.
Yeah, just designate it for June 1st and just get to hell with it, pretty much.
See, I still say you hang on to him until the season starts, because if you wait till then, someone gets someone injured in free agency, then all of a sudden you've regained a lot of that value you have for the player. Right. But I mean, you're already pretty much not using the $14.5 million. So why would you cut him now? It's not like all the best free agents are gone, so it's not like you're going to cut him and then take that money and go spend it somewhere else.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I mean, take the money. Well, you can take the money and give it to Sheriff.
Next year, yes, but right now he's already getting paid $15 million.
Yeah.
For next year, I agree with you, but right now we can't spend that money on anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my issue. We should cut him like as soon as free agency started, if we're going to cut him at all, because then we can spend that money on a player that's actually can help us right now. If we cut him right now, we're just saving ourselves $14.5 million. We're not really using that towards a player that's going to have an impact this year. Not one that's going to be good. We could probably get somebody, but no one that's going to like really impact the season this year.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I think, and we talked about getting rid of players who really didn't want to be here. Talked about Quentin. We have Quentin Dunbar getting traded to Seattle for a 5th round, which it was like the whitewash pick, because you got Kyle Allen for a 5th from Carolina, and then you picked up a 5th from Seattle.
So in all reality is you got Kyle Allen for Quentin Dunbar.
Right. And so even to that degree, was that...
Well, we actually downgraded our draft pick, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you dropped
because the Seahawks were a playoff team last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that thing, did you get the most out of that Quentin Dunbar trade?
I say yes, because I just think they want to get going with the problems.
Yeah,
and
get rid of your problem people. I mean, that's as far as it goes. It's get rid of the problem people. Like I said, get rid of the cancer.
And like Ron said, if you don't want to be there, he'll get rid of you. I mean, that's just he got something for nothing. I mean, he got something for him. The only thing I wish we could have done is just waited like a couple days and traded. Kyle Allen got traded to us. We send Quentin Dunbar to them, and then the 5th round pick goes to Carolina, and like just shuffle out. That way we didn't lose our 5th round pick.
Right.
Because our 5th round pick, we went from a second pick in the 5th round to like a later round pick. So that's the only thing I wish we could have done. But I wasn't mad. We got something out of it. It's better than cutting a guy and getting nothing.
Yeah.
And for the fact that he was an undrafted free agent, correct? We didn't draft him. He was undrafted. Yeah. And we have getting a 5th rounder back. That's not a horrible deal at all.
No, it's not.
And he was a project. They remember he was a wide receiver and everything. So
he was a wide receiver. Breland went down in camp, and they're like, hey, who wants to play corner?
He's like, I will.
And he also gets injured a lot too. Let's mention that.
So there we go, and then we got Ronald Darby. So one hair washes the other. So you go from another high potential.
We got Ronald Darby for his potential. I still say Logan Ryan's out there. Yeah. So,
but Logan Ryan also has that Belichick training too. I mean, we can't forget that.
So he'll go to Detroit or Miami or New England probably, or go back to Tennessee. So
or go Tampa. Who knows? Go see.
Yeah, you never know.
There you go. Yeah, go Tampa.
That's it. I hate.
They don't have the cap though.
No,
their cap is bad though. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. That's another question I had, and it's random, and it's not Redskins related, but in a way it is kind of. How is that dynamic with Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich going to work out with him being the OC? Like that, like nobody's talking about that. I think that's the wildest thing in the world.
I think Tom's a professional. I mean, look, he dealt with Bill Belichick for years. I'm pretty sure he can deal with Brian Leftwich. I think it's the other way. Dude, okay.
I'll say this. I think Tom Brady's more professional than Peyton Manning was. If you put Peyton Manning in that kind of situation, I think Peyton Manning would throw a S-fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Tom Brady's I think he dealt with Bill Belichick. There are a lot of guys that say whenever they leave the Patriots, like, God, thank God I'm out of there. Bill Belichick was this and that. And like Gronkowski, as soon as he's gone, now Gronkowski's like, I'll play football again if you trade me. So I mean, he ain't coming back to play for Belichick. He's coming back to play Brady. You know, there's a reason for that. So,
so then we move on here. We've got the Trent watch. Gotta get rid of them. Get rid of the cancer.
well, the next 4 days are exciting.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
There will be. So we've got this little event coming up on Thursday.
What's it called?
And it's was that player selection
it's like
draft?
Draft? Is that what?
Yeah,
Is that
the
what
draft?
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing as like a beer on tap.
Yep.
Same as a beer on tap.
The Redskins are poised to pour a nice big old mug here with the second overall pick. And just before you get into yours, JD, we did do our mock draft a couple weeks ago.
I saw it.
And, yeah. Oh, yeah, you did. Okay, cool. Beans. So we had two of them.
I watched it.
And, you know, so I don't know where the variation is, and but who do you have in your mock draft? Looking at it, are there any trades, or you just did a straight down mock draft?
Do you want me to just tell you what I think we need, or do you want me to go in order?
Tell us what you think. What we need, and then
I have three needs, like three things we need. One is a must-have, like it is like crucial if we have to get like must-haves. I think we're gonna draft Chase Young, so let's get that out of the way. I think we're gonna draft Chase Young. That's done. There's only two scenarios we don't. One is if the Bengals, which I actually don't know why the Bengals haven't considered this, but with the shortened offseason, I don't know why they wouldn't draft Chase Young. He plays in Ohio right now. He's a fantastic player, and you would have a cornerstone player, and it's a lot easier for him to come in and play defense than it is to bring a quarterback in to play quarterback with a short amount of time to learn the offense and learn the team's scheme and everything. So the only if we don't draft Chase, it's because we were jumped. He was taken first overall by the Bengals, which I still don't see why they wouldn't even consider it. But
I'm sure they have behind the scenes.
But I haven't seen a lot of reports on it. Everything I've seen says they're 100% sold on Burrow. But if we don't have, if he's taken, we trade down. That simple. We trade down, or I wouldn't hate having Isaiah Simmons. I think those are the two guys that I think that's a good 1A, 1B if you want to look at it that way.
Can I interject real quick?
Sure.
On that. So, I agree with you as far as, if we don't take him, we trade down. I think that is the right move. Or, if he's taken before us, if somebody jumps us or Cincinnati decides to take him, I think that is the right move. However, there is a caveat. The caveat is, what if Ron Rivera, what if Kyle Smith, what if Dan Snyder aren't really sold on Dwayne Haskins? And they're like, you know what? We're here, the best quarterback that's had the best collegiate season in collegiate history, had just won Heisman, just won national championship MVP, I believe.
Do you really want Haskins to beat him twice?
Who says he'll beat him twice, though? Haskins didn't win his national championship.
I get that, but it's a team game. I wouldn't. It's a team game. He won a national title. I mean, Torrey Smith won a national title. He wasn't a great quarterback. So, in the NFL, I think Burrow will be good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm sold on Haskins. I think you have to. I think you have to just stick with your guns on sticking with Haskins and trade down the pick. That's what I would do if we don't get Chase Young first overall. I would stick to that gun. That solid on that, because the last thing you need now is we were just talking about a polar.
But my point is, do we still trust? Are we still in the point of we got to trust Rivera? We got to trust their process of what they're going through as a new rebuilding franchise. And if that's the point that you know what, that's Burrow's our guy, and we are going to go ahead and get him. Do we trust him at that point?
Do I trust that? I don't. You're already creating a QB controversy already. I I think Ron Rivera is trying the best he can to avoid these kind of like the situation you're bringing up. I think he's trying his best to avoid those situations. That's why I went and got Kyle Allen. It would completely go against everything he wanted to do to go get Kyle Allen and then draft a quarterback. He gave up draft capital to do that. It wasn't like it was a free. I don't see it happening. I don't trust that happening. That's just me personally. I get what you're saying, but I just don't think so.
I'll be honest with y'all. I do this all. I would put any amount of money on the world in the world. I'll put my next paycheck on it. You can quote me right here and do it. Joe Burrow is going to Cincinnati. There is no ifs and buts about it. So the fact that people are discussing not going to Cincinnati is foolish. He's from Athens, Ohio, which is 2 hours from Cincinnati. You want to revitalize that base. You've got a personality like his. Mike Brown would be a fool not to do that, and I don't think that man's a fool.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just throwing a scenario out there in which we wouldn't take Chase.
Right. No, I got you, but the kid is Ohio. He's from Athens. I've been to Athens plenty of times. That's where my fiance is going to school at, and they were pumped when he was in the national championship game. Walmart had his little setup there. So the Bengals, they want to re-energize fan base. They're going to go with him. I just think that, hypotheticals and everything aside, that it ain't going to happen. So,
let me give the other scenario.
Go ahead.
What if the Lions decide that they're not sold on Stafford? Maybe they heard something medical where he won't be able to play this year, and they're like, we can keep waiting for this guy to get healthy. Well, we can go ahead and take our new franchise quarterback. Right. They want to swap picks with us to make sure that the Dolphins don't take our pick. Don't swap. Don't trade with us. So they'll swap picks with us and give us a second. That is the only other scenario. And then we can still get Chase Young, and they get a quarterback, everyone wins, and we actually accumulate another draft pick. That's the only other scenario. I don't think that one's likely either. That's the only two ways I've looked at it. Like, there's only two scenarios in my mind where we're not drafting Chase Young second overall. So
yeah, kind of like what San Francisco and Chicago did a few years ago. They split 2 and 3.
Yes.
No, I can see that. But like you said, it's probably out in the weeds. But
it's probably not going to happen. I think But here's what the Redskins do: the draft. Tight end is a must draft.
Right.
It's a must draft.
I agree.
There's about six tight ends that I would be okay drafting, because unless we get OJ Howard, I think there's a lot of tight ends in this draft I would play above a lot of our tight ends. I don't trust Rich Rogers. He's going to get injured. Jeremy Sprinkle can't catch a football. He's healthy. He can stay healthy, but he's not a good receiving tight end. Hal Henches is probably the only one I actually like.
Same here.
And then Logan Thomas he's a project. He could be good, he could be bad, but there's no certainty in any of those positions other than Jeremy Sprinkle can block, and Hal Henches is a pretty good receiving tight end. So I would rather go with some certainty. I know Adam Trotman can catch a football. I know Albert Okadabunam, however you pronounce it. I know those two guys are 6'5" and 6'6" respectively. They're big targets. Thaddeus Moss, I trust him. There's a lot of tight ends on here I trust way more than any of the tight ends we have on our roster right now. So I think that is a must. If you trade for OJ Howard, we need to draft one tight end. If we don't trade for any other tight ends, I think we should draft two in this draft. I really do. Give our young quarterback some young weapons. So that's a must. The next two positions are the next one's wide receiver. And wide receiver is a must with a kind of an asterisk. We could get away with not drafting a really high-end receiver this year because I think we have 3 good young receivers on our squad, and we have decent backups, and I think we're going to do a lot better to get once we started unleashing Haskins and opening up the offense. It really didn't matter the talent we had on the field. He was being productive with what he had. And I think with 2 good tight ends, it's going to help because he had no help at receiving in the tight end area last year. So I think we can go one more year and get by with the receivers we have. But I mean, there are some guys I definitely have on a list that if they fall and they're in a certain spot, we take them. But I think we could still. There's still guys in free agency we can get desperate and get. I'm going to say this name. Don't freak out. I don't want him, but if we're desperate, Antonio Brown, there's Josh Gordon, there's a whole bunch of players out there that are still available that I don't want. But if we're desperate for a player, desperate for someone to fill the roster, we could get guys. So don't look at me sideways, Corey. I see you. And then the last position is offensive tackle.
We've been talking about culture all season.
I know. That's why I said if we're desperate. If we're desperate. I threw that caveat in. And not to mention, I actually like who's the receiver we signed?
Latimer.
I actually like Cody Latimer. I think he makes a good fourth or fifth option, depending on who you like at the fourth option. And then offensive tackle, and again, this one also has an asterisk next to it. If we didn't want to draft one in the third or fourth round and we had other needs we wanted to go with, we could draft one later, and we can still go out and sign. There's still guys in free agency. Jason Peters is one. We can sign him for a 1-year contract to kind of hold the spot until we either get the guy we draft this year or John Christian up to speed, or we could obviously start Cornelius Lucas if we wanted to hold off 1 more year on that. But I don't think we're going to draft a starter in the third round anyway, so that's why I said if we really didn't want to do that, we can get an offensive tackle in free agency to hold the spot for 1 year until, or if we make the trade with Trent with the Vikings and we get Riley Reef, we don't really need to draft one at this moment. We can draft one first round next year if we find out that Haskins our guy, so on and so forth. So, but I think our 3 needs are tight end, wide receiver, offensive tackle. 3 biggest needs.
All on the offensive side, which is funny because you would think a couple of years ago those would not be positions of need. What did you think of our mock draft we did last week? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't remember all your picks.
Hold on,
to be honest.
Hold on.
If you could,
I can share a screen.
I think I watched it. I think I agreed with a handful of your picks. Some I didn't, but I have to take a look at it.
Hold on. Where we at?
While you're doing that, Corey, I'll talk about this. Where I think we could trade down is the 3rd pick in the. I can't see that.
Oh crap! Hold on. Let's see.
3rd pick in the 3rd pick, the 2nd pick in the 3rd round. That might be when we trade down to get an extra pick or 2. That would be where I see us trading down and getting more picks, because a lot of the guys I think we're going to get are within the 3rd to 4th round range anyway. So personal opinion there. I think that would.
It's in the comments. It's in the comments. That's what I did. I hope it'll let me do that.
Let me jump on the stream on here.
Oh God, I've got this Inception thing going on right now. Okay.
Don't tip your chair back. You'll wake up. All right. So on the word. Okay. Okay. First round, obviously Chase Young. Okay, that makes sense. 3rd round, 2nd overall pick, Thaddeus Moss. I like it. I just think I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he falls to like the 4th round, like middle to late 4th round. A couple of the websites. That's so we might be able to get him later, but I don't hate the pick. I think we're gonna get him. I just think it might be a little bit later.
Okay.
Defensive back Reggie Robinson. I don't hate it. I just don't see us getting a. I don't think we're gonna get that many defensive players this year. I mean, Ron has a habit for getting guys in the 6th, 7th round and making gems out of them. Norman was a late round pick. Bradbury was a late round pick. So I see him being a little bit later when it comes to drafting cornerbacks. KJ Hill, I don't hate that. The only thing about KJ is I have different receivers that I have targeted, but I like KJ. If we got him, it wouldn't be mad. Linebacker, Wyoming. From Wyoming, I don't hate it. I don't know much about this player, to be honest with you. The only thing I'd have gone for differently is just another tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, Clark. Okay, and then the offensive tackle. I do know a little bit about the two tackles you get in the seventh round.
Mm-hmm.
I like getting them there. The only thing I would rather get defensive players there because right now we're kind of skinny at defensive back, so they get more opportunities to play. At offensive tackle, I don't know if we're going to get a lot of starters back then or up at that point. So, but other than that,
I like Cameron Clark though. His draft stock is rising.
Cameron Clark, yeah. I mean, seventh round. That I don't know. I mean, it's a crapshoot. I have a couple guys I have in mind, but the seventh round that wouldn't be a bad. Those are good options for both the seventh round. I usually like to go for either a running back would be something I grab in the seventh round because we can never have too many of those with as injured as we get. But like I had, so let me go over my list real quick. I think third round with the 66th pick we get Adam Trotman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be available. There we go.
Some believe that he's the best tight end in the draft.
I believe he is too. I've heard some rumors that for a while I've liked Albert Okunabunam. I have no idea how to pronounce that guy's name. I am guessing every time. So Albert O is what I'll call him from now on.
The big O.
I like both of them because they're big targets. They're good in the red zone. Like I said, there's Thaddeus Moss. I think he'd be great. Like if you had him and Adam Trotman, that'd be a good tandem. I have 7 guys on this list. Mm-hmm. I have Trotman, Alberto, Bryce Hopkins, Cole Kmet. If he were to fall, I don't think he'll fall to where we draft.
That's a Notre Dame kid, right?
Yep. Harrison Bryant, Hunter Bryant, Thaddeus Moss, Jacob Breland is said to be falling towards like closer to the 7th round. I think and then there's the kid from is it Pinkerson? From Colby Pinkerson. He's from Stanford. So there's a handful of them that I wouldn't mind getting. Receiver. I have 4 receivers that I've had my eyes on. KJ Hill's a good one. He's on my honorable mention list, so to speak. Really, the one kid I want, which I don't think he'll fall to the 3rd round, is Michael Pittman from USC. I think he has the perfect build for the type of receiver we need, opposite McLaurin. Antonio Gandy Golden, I think, is a sleeper in this draft. I think he reminds me of like an Anquan Bolden type. He's not going to blow you away with speed, but if you throw it around him, he's going to get it. It's going to be somewhere in his wheelhouse. He's going to catch it. He'll move the sticks. He's got a big body. I really like his game. Gabriel Davis. A lot of drafts have him falling to like the 5th round. I did a video where I used 4 different draft engines. So there's a bunch of different draft engines you can use to make mock drafts, and some of them have them falling, some don't. So very inconsistent. Chase Claypool would be one I'd also like. They also have him listed as tight end, so that confused me a little bit because I know he's a wide receiver, but some websites had him listed as tight end / wide receiver. So maybe he could be like a hybrid we can get to play both.
Niles Paul and everything. I mean, he was drafted as wide receiver and converted to tight ends because of his size.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gronk is a wide receiver and a tight end's body. So was Reed.
That's true. And then offensive tackle, based on where our picks are, this is I'm making this list based on that, not based on the best ones. Lucas Nyang, he was from TCU. Prince Tiga Winogo from Auburn. Ben Barch, Alex Taylor. Alex Taylor I've seen fall to like the 5th round, late 5th. I think, or maybe sometimes even 7th I've seen him fall that far. I don't think he will, but I think the website's got that way wrong. Calvin Throckmorton and Sadid Charles. Those are the guys that I've seen. Whether they fall to us or not is the question.
Mm-hmm.
But those are pretty much the main guys that I've seen that I've liked, and those are the guys I like drafted at the position. I want to throw one more wild card out there that I did not mention. If the Redskins were somehow able to accumulate picks and they could draft this player, I would love it. Zach Moss, running back out of Utah.
Oh, Santana and Sonoris' cousin.
Mhm.
Yes, I would love to draft Zach Moss. If we could draft Zach Moss, because I think he is durable. He runs like beast mode. He doesn't have breakaway speed, but I think he would be. I think he's. I like his game. I've watched him play. I think where we're drafting, I think we accumulated some picks and some trades. I think we could pick him up somewhere in the late third, early fourth if he falls that far. But that's like my wild card for someone I'd like. The kid from Maryland wouldn't be bad either. McFarland, I think is his name. Wouldn't be a bad one either. Like Darius McFarland or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's right, man.
But those are the players that I would like to see in this draft. Us target. It's a crapshoot who we're gonna pick. If I had to pick, like heart of hearts, I want Trotman, and then Thaddeus Moss, Antonio Gandy Golden, Alex Taylor, and then 7th round we get a couple defensive backs. AJ Green would be a good one. I think we could draft in the 7th.
Did he go back to
And
college?
then-
Just kidding.
Yeah, good one. I mean, you could also draft Lamar Jackson if you wanted to. So,
Yeah, this is all- hey,
so
their law. Baltimore and Cincinnati's lost.
yeah. But that's who I've looked. That's who I look at, and I think those are the 3 positions I think we should get. And I gave like a wild card player. I hope we can get. Thoughts?
I like it.
Yeah,
It sounds
pretty
sound.
crisp. Addresses every need we need, and yeah, I like it. I think it's a
I think it's
Good
sound
stuff.
wisdom.
yeah.
I think our draft strategy needs to be 1, get Chase Young. 2, we need to make sure we put as much talent as we can around our young quarterback and make sure there's no excuses as to why like he didn't succeed. If at the end of the year we look at it and we like, listen, we gave you tight ends, we gave you another good receiver, we gave you a big red zone target, we gave you another running back, and we gave you an offensive line that was good and a solid defense, and you still were not good, we know definitively what we have. If we don't make the attempts to do that in this draft, then we have no one to blame but ourselves when it comes to the offseason when we still have question marks about whether Haskins is our quarterback or whether he's not our quarterback. I think that's what you have to figure out. This season needs to be dedicated to that. So, yeah, I think you got to draft accordingly. So,
Yeah,
I would agree.
absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, this is like we've said. This is going to be. I don't really want to say make or break. I think that's too cliche, but you're starting from brick one again because you're actually somebody who's going to give him a fair shot, which is something he did not have last year. You had a lame duck coach fired five games into the season last year who was trying to and whatever or just I don't even think he was trying to keep his point, but
No, he was expecting to be fired last offseason. He just wasn't.
right. So if you just run the ball with your many running backs and let him throw, like I think the game against Carolina was a blueprint of how you can win right now in Haskins.
can
Like
we talk
that-
about that for 2 seconds?
Go ahead.
Why was Jay Gruden fired before Greg Minuski?
Because the head coach falls on the sword, and he wasn't going to fire Nuski. Plain and simple.
I just don't understand how Minuski
Yeah,
gave up
Minuski-
3 50-yard touchdowns in the first game of the season, and he wasn't fired right after that.
And he's
I get
Redskins
firing
alum.
Jay Gruden. I
Yeah.
get firing Jay Gruden, but how do you not fire the offense coordinator first, and then you fire the head coach? Make it somewhat of a change first before you get rid of the head coach.
Maybe the head
I
coach
think there's
didn't
some
want to fire him.
politics in that, but
Right. I mean, well, maybe Jay didn't fire him. So, that was weird. That was dynamic anyway because they had viewed. Oh God, who's the old boy who was coaching the Jets?
Rex Ryan?
Williams.
Oh,
Greg Williams.
no. Yeah, you interviewed him, and no, coach before I can't think of his name. Saved my life.
He's in Tampa now.
Yeah.
Oh.
God, what's his name?
God,
He
Todd
played
Bowles.
for the Redskins. Yeah,
Todd
Todd Bowles.
Bowles.
That's exactly.
Thank you. Yeah.
Then Greg Williams to come back, which Greg Williams he did not accept because he would look like a fool after what they did to him in 8. But
Yeah.
I McManusky was still there, actively looking defensive coordinator. If you're actively looking for a defensive caller, don't the same guy on staff fire him. Like, just get on and say, hey, go on with your day. We're going to somebody else. And then if they're not in that wants to come there, you promote within again, I guess, or go out and try to find whoever you can. But
why don't you leave it there in case you get hungry? Okay?
I don't know. I just anyone who drops Ryan Kerrigan in a pass coverage shouldn't be a defensive coordinator. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's
or Montez
to be
Sweat.
fair, he does have a good record for pick sixes. No, I'm just kidding.
I know he does, but you can't have one time it happens and you get pick six and think it's going to work every time.
Or does
Jim Haslett, Barry, Manusky, they all let him drop back in coverage. So they were all terrible. But
I mean, if we'd have had a 4-3, if we'd have run a 4-3 the last 2 years, we probably won three more games each year.
No, yeah, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. But the thing with the Reds,
good. I was gonna say the year Alex Smith broke his leg, we'd have won at least 2 more games. We probably still would have won the division, or at least a wild card, gotten a wild card. The year Alex Smith broke his leg, because a 4-3. If you're looking at a 4-3 with the talent we had, Initis, Payne, Allen, and Kerrigan. The biggest problem that the Redskins have had the last few years when it comes to defense, other than secondary injury, is linebacker injury. If you limit the need for as many linebackers, you're going to help your cause a little bit. Not to mention, 4 down linemen, you're just automatically going to stop the run without having to blitz as much. And Manusky hates blitzing anyway, so you just think that'd be just a much smarter defensive scheme anyway.
Right.
I mean, yeah, but Manusky hated blitzing. Jim Haslam blitzed too much, and Joe Barry didn't know what he was doing. So
yeah. Well,
he had energy. He had energy though.
Yeah,
Greg Manusky. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Corey.
The biggest thing is the fact that the Redskins continued to draft 43 defensive players instead of drafting 34 defensive players, and that I mean that was obvious. Ryan Kerrigan played in the ground, played with his hand in the ground all his career at Purdue. He didn't play linebacker. And that was I remember when they drafted him, they was like, this guy's a defensive end. Why is he coming? And to that point, what effect has that had on his career? I mean, he's done great for the Redskins, but could he have had a better career? Looking at it 9, 10
Well, let's go back further.
Yeah.
Albert Hainsworth, they signed him from whenever he was in his prime. I know it's going to be a buzzword for people, but we signed him in his prime, and then the Redskins switched to a 3-4 when he came out of a 4-3.
Yeah, it was ignorant. I mean, that was ignorant to begin with. I didn't trust Mike Shanahan with finding a right defensive mind because he held on to Bob Slowick too much in Denver. But and Denver didn't run a 3-4. And
I just don't.
No, I think the 3-4 was more Bruce's idea.
Yeah, that was crazy. You're the head coach. You might as well run your own defense. What? I mean, get the people that you're familiar with to run it. But whatever.
I just think you look at right now. If we draft Chase Young, I mean, there's so many options at a 4-3.
Oh yeah.
You could literally put. There's options. You could put Allen at defensive end, Payne, Initis, Kerrigan, all 4 down, and put on first down. You could put Chase, middle linebacker Bostic, and outside linebacker Montez Sweat, and then on passing downs, send them down and have other guys in pass protection. There's so many different options you can do defensively. You can put Payne and Settle at the 2 nose guard the tackle positions. The options are endless right now. It's incredible how much they could probably do with this defense, and how many different looks they're going to give people.
We really forget we talk all the time about Ron Rivera, and we're forgetting the hidden gem and the unsung hero of the offseason hiring of
Jack Del Rio.
Jack Del Rio.
Jack Del Rio.
Yeah. Well, Jack, wherever he's been at, he's made an impact on defense
everywhere.
Carolina, he got a head coaching job out of it. In Denver, he got a head coaching job out of it. Maybe he's too old now. He won't get another head coaching job, so he'll be here for a little bit.
Yeah, Jacksonville.
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah, he went from Carolina to Jacksonville, and then he went from Denver to Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Was he a head coach in Denver, or was he just defensive coordinator?
He was defensive coordinator. He was defensive coordinator.
Yeah, under Gary,
John
right?
Fox.
John Fox. Yeah.
Wasn't he under Gary Kubiak too?
No.
I thought once they fired John Fox. John Fox, Gary Kubiak got promoted.
He got the job in 2015, right?
He got the Oakland job in 2015 because he got fired in 2017.
And Kubiak got the job in 2015 at Denver, I think.
Okay, my bad.
Right. I think. Is it right?
Yeah, because
maybe I don't.
Year.
Yeah, that's right. Because they didn't.
That was Payne Manning Swang Song.
Right. Because they lost to Indianapolis in the second round. But yeah, I think Jack Del Rio. He's going to be X marks the spot, and he was a heck of a linebacker, and middle linebacker in the NFL. So he's good at understanding where everybody needs to be on that defensive side of the ball. So. Yeah, and I promise, Jay, we won't talk anymore about Haynesworthless on here ever again. I promise you that. I don't like talking about him, so we won't talk about him anymore.
I know. I was just giving an example of
I know.
just reinforcing your point.
No, not you, JD. Somebody actually commented on it. That's what.
Okay.
That's why I said no. I wasn't giving. I was giving you a hard time on that one. But yeah, I mean. There's been so many missed opportunities with the defense since this move back in. I mean, you think about it, you remember 2009 was a nightmare season, but that defense was pretty decent under Greg Blosh back in 2009 and 2008. So under that 4-3. So, missed opportunities.
Wasn't it?
At one time, I think that season it was. I think they probably finished in the middle of the pack that year.
Mm-hmm.
The offense.
Yeah, I remember reading comments online. And it was the first step into the deep dark hole that is the internet for me, of reading comments and just people saying all the time, "We have top 5 defense."
I thought it was kind of funny, and this is just you talk about the deep dark threat of Redskin internet and everything. I actually ventured into that on Facebook the other night. I said Nick Wright proposed this asinine theory that the Redskins should go after that broke down Alabama quarterback, and Tua. I just posed a question. I said, is it just me, or does Nick Wright's comments sit bad with you? And they were like, stop sharing this stupid article. I'm like, bro, I just asked a question. I wasn't trying to I don't agree with him.
Oh, Nick Wright. Oh, boy.
He's a moron. And it's like
I think he makes some valid points in some arguments, but I can't listen to him anymore because of his opinions on LeBron. He's way too biased in that. So,
it's just like I can't listen to 1067 The Fan anymore, and that really disappoints me.
That's true. Chris Russell and all and Grant and
they're very negative.
They are so butthurt about the fact that Dwayne Haskins blocks them. I'm like, you keep on trying to tear the dude down. That's what, and I got into it last week, and said that Chris Russell, who is I really think he would marry Kirk Cousins if he offered the proposition. He is A1 Kirk Cousins guy, and
I'd love to have a conversation with him.
Yeah. No, I know you would. Oh, I know you would.
I would.
Kirk.
He's actually not that bad of a dude, but his football opinions kind of suck.
I think he's a good dude, good humanitarian, but
I think they're all good dudes. It's just
No, I don't think Grant Paulson's a good dude, but
Grant Paulson's a piece of crap.
No, he's not a good dude. Don't. He's the prize pig of Prince George's County down there in Virginia. So
I thought I called him out on Facebook one time, on Twitter one time, and he actually responded. He was gone for a week, and it was Craig Hoffman and Danny Rie doing the Grant and Danny show, and they just had such better chemistry than Grant and Danny did. Actually,
he's been like covering.
He has a much. They have much better chemistry than you two do. And he was all, thanks. I think.
Yeah, I remember when I was like 6 or 7 or something. They did this thing on Real Sports about him on HBO because he was like 12 and he was covering sports. Grant Paulson was. So so he's been in the business for good. He's like it's almost in his mid-30s now. So
yeah, most
people are ready to retire at that point. So yeah, but yes, the state media, but it's the 106.7 Fan. I say this a lot. They piss me off and they make me mad, but they are a creation of they're a spawn of our negativity towards the Redskins, because anytime you see something like when they were ready to fire Bruce, and when everybody's ready to fire Bruce Allen, who's the first article you're going to share? 106.7 The Fan. Listen to them. They know what they're talking about. But as soon as they got a negative comment on somebody you like, we got problems. Me included. But Dan Snyder had that stranglehold on DC sports media for about 6-7 years, and they had to stop playing Colin Cowherd because he said too many negative things about the Redskins. So
Colin Cowherd did also, insult
that Deshaun Taylor thing, but they still had Michael Wilbon coming on there, and he said even worse things.
Yeah, I can't watch 106 The Fan. I have them. I follow them on Facebook because once in a while they have someone on there that has a good opinion. Mm-hmm. I like, if I met some of these guys, I really would probably strangle one or two of them. One of the guys, like the year that Alex Smith broke his leg, they did predictions again of the year where they're all predicting like 7-9 and like 5-2 or 5-11 or something like that. They gave predictions. And the one day I remember, this is what like really left a bad taste in my mouth. The one guy's bragging because he predicted they were going to have a 7-9 record. And I wanted to like come through the computer and strangle the guy. I'm like, MFer. Dude, the wheels fell off. We had a quarterback break his leg, a backup quarterback break his leg. The entire offensive line got injured. Our starting running back got injured. Our backup running back got injured. Both of our tight ends were out. And we had our best receiver was Josh Dotson and Jamison Crowder. Those are the best receiving weapons we have. And we ended up playing a fourth-round quarterback or fourth-string quarterback because Mark Sanchez sucks. And we still went 7-9. You didn't predict nothing. You lucked into being right. There's a difference. Mm-hmm. It really like irritated me. The guy was like, two guys were like bragging about being right at 7-9. I'm like, you're only right because the entire wagon fell off.
Right.
The wheels fell off the entire wagon.
No,
it's a prediction if they stay healthy and you're 7-9. That's one thing.
Right.
But when the entire team gets injured, and we're playing
especially when we were
third
on
round
the way to the division championship at that point.
Yeah,
we were cruising.
If we'd have lost Alex Smith and we wouldn't have lost the entire offensive line, I still think we would have won the division because Colt McCoy did not do horrible when he came in, and our offensive line just happened to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And that left a bad taste in my mouth because they were bragging about being right, and the entire team got injured. The entire offensive line got injured. Everything went wrong.
And you know what?
It just really left a bad taste in my mouth. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, I think we both agree with you in that. But even the biggest thing was the fans were ungrateful for what Alex Smith was doing. He's not throwing for 300.
Oh, yeah, they were complaining because he's only getting like 250 yards a game.
Right, but he wasn't turning the ball over. The offense was struggling because this is a new offense to him. But when he started hitting on cylinders and everything, he didn't turn the ball over. And they were making strides. They had a 33-year-old running back and a 34-year-old quarterback, and they were actually doing something. Oh, he's got to go. We can't do it with Alex Smith. And we got, and I'll say it, and people get mad, we got exactly what we deserved. And that's why that's why we're in this power vacuum.
We didn't get what we deserved.
We didn't.
We didn't, because I loved Alex Smith.
Right. I like that. We did.
I got a video I put out, and I will link this in the comments if someone wants it. I put a video out. It was comparing the stats of Kirk Cousins to Alex Smith. The difference in passing yards was 12 yards a game between those two. 12 yards a game. That was the only difference in passing yards. The only difference is Kirk had a little bit more touchdowns, but he had 4 times as many turnovers, fumbles, and interceptions. That was the huge, drastic difference between the two. Oh, God. That is something that they will say on 106.1 The Fan. That is something that they would bring up. I would love to meet. I don't know who's the guy you guys said. What was his name?
Grant Paulson.
Yes, the guy who loves Kirk Cousins.
Him
I would love
Chris Russell.
I would love to meet him in a bar and have a discussion with him, because oh God, I would stick his dick in the dirt when it comes to how bad Kirk Cousins was. The year he got like 40, like almost 5,000 passing yards.
Yeah,
I can go through like every individual stat that he had that year compared to the year before, and like how bad he actually was. His red zone percentage was garbage. How did he have more yards with less touchdowns?
Yeah, nothing changed offensive wise, except I think they lost. One thing that changed was
you did. You added Vernon Davis, and he got less touchdowns. He had more interceptions, fumbled the ball more. The only thing that changed offensively is we had
there in 16. I don't think.
Yeah, he was.
No, he was.
The year he got 4,900 passing yards. Yeah.
Vernon Davis wasn't there.
Not the year we went to the playoffs. The next year.
Yeah, I know. Vernon Davis didn't come until 17.
I'll double check that. What year are we talking about? 20?
Because he signed a 3-year deal in 18 to come back, and then yes, the tight end we only had Jordan Reed really in 2016 as far as tight end goes.
Tight end Vernon Davis. He's on the roster 2016.
Really?
We signed him in 2016. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Because 2015 was the year we went 9-7.
Yeah.
The next year we had Pierre Garçon.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8-7-1. We had Vernon Davis that year, I promise. Because the difference in the offense, Kirk Cousins had more passing yards. He had 4,800 whatever. Well, but he had like 8 less touchdowns. He had 6 less touchdowns. He had like 6 more interceptions, 4 more fumbles for losses. And what saved us was the fact that we had 8 more rushing touchdowns. So offense to offense, it was about the same. And we had about, I think it was like 400 more passing yards or rushing yards that year. But everyone always looked at the defense saying the defense like sucked because third down conversion was bad. Or third down conversion. The conversion percentage was bad. But if you look at the numbers the year before, the numbers were exactly the same other than that. But we still gave up the same amount of points per game. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because you got to look at the statistics, like what changed. And if you look at Kurt's red zone numbers, well, Kurt's overall passing numbers, he had more yards with less touchdowns and more interceptions and more fumbles. But if you look at Kurt's red zone numbers that year, he went from, in 2015, his completion percentage was like 65% in the red zone and in goal to go. And he had like 17 touchdowns. The next year, he went from 65% to 30% completion percentage in the red zone.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So, and he added an extra weapon too. So he got worse with better talent. Yeah, from 20 to 20, Kirk was fantastic, but from 20 in, he couldn't 20 to 0, like getting in the end zone. He was horrible that year. And everyone and their mother thinks that the problem was the defense. I'm like, if he puts one more touchdown in,
was one of the problems, but
it was a problem. It wasn't the problem, in my opinion.
Problem, though. Yeah.
The
problem was Kirk.
If there's more third down conversions and we're giving up like 8 more points a game, then there's a correlation. But if we're giving up the same amount of points per game and our third down conversion is higher, it doesn't really cause us to give up more points per game. It's the same as the year before. But when we have less points per game and we don't score more points per game and we're red zone percentage is lower and we're kicking more field goals, that results in us losing games. I really just want to have that conversation with that guy because I don't think he looks at the stats. I think he just saw Kirk and like, oh, I don't know. Especially where'd Corey go?
I don't know. I'll text him right now.
Sorry, I got off on a tangent. I get so frustrated when it comes to Kirk Cousins.
Is that about?
Oh, okay. I was just about to text you, or
Yeah,
put on Amber Alert something.
yeah. The
How's it going?
interweb went down.
You had to use the bathroom, huh? Don't lie.
No, I had to use the bathroom. Shoot, but it was a whole bunch of crap I had to deal with. Yes. I did listen to y'all. Your Kirk family member and the family barbecue, and his great ransom money that man can get paid for to do so little and not do anything. So, and we were. I don't know if I'll say we were Kirk Cousins apologists. I'm not gonna lie because I think because of the internet, people can go back and see that I lied, that I be right. But I was more of a fan of him because of the actual stability, the stability he brought that we hadn't seen in position since Johnson. Like, I mean, be honest with you, Jason Campbell didn't do it. Of course, Jeff George was a freaking joke. Tony Banks and Kent Grant back in the day. Brunell was awful. Was okay for a season. Ramsey never lived up to expectations. McNabb wasn't what we thought he was going to be, and then we had Rex Grossman, RG3. So like he was the best quarterback that we had. And somebody asked us, talk about Dwayne Haskins. What you think about him? Hashtag let's go Redskins. Well, I guess we'll circle back over to that, and we talked about it already. The first thing is you need to go to Toys R Us, reopen it, and go and buy him a lot of shiny new toys that he can play with, and give him an opportunity. Be fair about it, right? I mean, they say life isn't fair, but to the opportunity, the kid, he went into a situation that they did not want him. The owner wanted him.
The
coach did not want him.
Coach didn't want him.
The coach wanted a journeyman who backed into a playoff appearance because he had what? He had shiny tools and a damn good defense. Minnesota had a great defense that year. And you had Diggs, you had Thielen coming into his own. Who was running back? Did they have Murray still? Right? Was it Davis Murray?
You're talking about whenever Kurt left and went to the Vikings?
No. I'm talking about Case Keenum. That year they went to the playoffs.
Yes, that was that year.
Yeah.
So I mean,
did they have Matt Asiata?
Yeah, they did have Asiata. Yeah, I think they did.
I had him in fantasy that year. That's how I know.
Yeah, Matt. I his name anymore. Sounds like a seasoning to me. Matt Asiata.
My favorite flavor of wings.
Asiata, yeah. But
it's also a fine cheese. Asiata cheese.
Yeah, I think he's he'll be all right. Give it to him. Let this kid. I had a conversation with Yemi from behind the line, behind enemy lines. New guy, check him out. And he said we brought up this key thing. All three of us on here are past the age of 22. We're 30, and I'm about to be 30.
I'm 30. I'm 33 in like a month.
Okay, there you go. Days. Close. I was just rounding for you, but you want to show your age.
Rounding down. I appreciate that.
Yeah, right. See, there you go. Look out for you.
There you go.
So, at the age of 22, did y'all have anything about life together?
God, no. I just realized I was freaking 22. Okay.
Right.
22. Right, 22. No, I just gotten fired from Taco Bell.
JD, what were you doing at 22?
I mean,
did you have life together?
I wasn't winning fantasy football leagues back then, so I'll tell you what, I did not have my shit together, or my stuff together. So no.
Right. So the fact that you think like it takes time to become a professional, give the kid an opportunity, because if you say, hey, you ain't together, he should have it together at age 22. They get mad at him for buying Bentleys and everything. If he bought a Bentley, I'd buy me a Bentley too if I had that much money.
I bought two of them.
Yeah, you buy two of them. So, one.
I mean, I hit the lottery. I'm telling you what, I'm gonna be. I'm 30. I'm 32. If I hit the lottery, I'm buying shit. I'm buying stuff. So it's definitely happening. So it's definitely happening.
You win the lottery, holla at your boys.
Exactly.
We'll do this every week on a professional stage or professional.
Right, exactly.
We'll get our studio. So
we'll go back to Anchor and do a podcast and everything. So, yeah, but
yeah, we'll do it every week.
Point of the matter is, he's not going to have it together. So for these people out here that's giving them a hard time about that, did it come off as a little bit arrogant? Yes, but I think that's a competitor in him. Now, if he starts doing this crap and they're 0-7, I will have a problem, and I will come on here and say, "Hey, this is something you need to look at." But it's not right. It's not right to judge this kid when he was thrown into a situation that nobody wanted him. Nobody wants to work that way, whether you work at Taco Bell, whether you're losing fantasy football, whether you're just graduating from school or whatever. Nobody wants that. They don't want to go in that environment. So, yeah. I mean,
it's the same thing with me that I always say with RG3. When a friend of mine was like RG3, this Redskins, he doesn't want to be there. I'm like, okay, if you go to your job and your boss, the guy who's supposed to be helping you along your way, hates you and doesn't want you there and doesn't acknowledge your existence, how well are you going to do at your job? The same thing whenever...
Say it louder so people back in here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll say it a little louder. So, how to... Like with RG3, Jay Gruden came in and said, I'm going to make this guy a good quarterback. And then when he figured out this guy can't figure out the steps, his footwork's bad, he just said, piss on it. I don't want you to be a quarterback. I'm going to focus on your backup here. And then the guy basically ignored him. And then the franchise pretty much ignored him. How are you going to be at your job when you go into work? The guy doesn't, your boss doesn't care. No one cares about your success. No one cares about your progression. Nothing like that. How good are you going to be at your job? And I believe Haskins, from the first game till the minute he actually started being the starter, was in that same exact position that RG3 was in for a long time.
Right.
Under Jay Gruden until he officially got released or his contract was up or whatever you want to call it. It's the same exact scenario. I don't blame Haskins for that. Because if you've ever been in that situation where you're just being ignored by everyone who's supposed to be mentoring you, it's a dark place. You really feel like you're alone. And I think his teammates felt that as well. And that's why I mentioned earlier during the New York Giants game when he got injured, I feel like the team around him, let's win one for the Gipper, really uplifted themselves. The defense finally got stops. That game was going to be 50-51 when we were watching that game until the defense finally got stops. We came back. The receivers, even with McLaurin out, we still put up the points to send it to overtime. Yeah. So I really feel like the entire team felt that way about how he was being treated by the coach, and then he finally got his chance, and then the team rallied around him.
Right.
That's why I think it's going to be a completely different story this year, and a lot of people are going to eat their words.
You got somebody. You've actually got a coach with a backbone who is going to make you earn it. And that's something. I said this when they hired him. This is the best hire that Dan Snyder has made since Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah,
and I think for whatever it's worth, Marty got those guys once they started buying into his system. They were 8-3 going down the stretch,
and they ended up being 8-8.
Yep, they were. Yeah, so they started out 0-5. Won 8 out of the last 11, and they were sitting in without a quarterback. Nobody can tell. If you watch the Redskins, you didn't know. Nobody remembers who the quarterbacks were that start. Y'all remember who started the season that year?
I have no idea.
Jeff George.
I have no idea.
Jeff George started it, and then he got cut in the first 2 weeks of the season after they laid an egg on Monday Night Football against the Packers. Tony Banks came in. Tony Banks was ineffective in Denver. They brought in Kent Graham, who had been in New York for so many times. So they did it without a quarterback, and people don't realize. I think people don't realize what was missed under Marty Schottenheimer. Then they had that terrible defense coordinator in Jimmy Ray, but that is what it is.
I don't think we're going to have too many discussions about a terrible defensive coordinator this year.
I don't think
I think
so
we can all agree.
I don't think so.
I think we can agree on that. At least we should.
We won't. No,
and I think with our front seven, so to speak, I think we're going to be talking a lot about if the offense is going to get on the defense's level. I think that's more or less the conversation we're going to have. And I think if we run the offense the way I mentioned earlier, like with 2 vertical threats, stretching the field, check downs, 2 tight ends, and running backs,
right?
I think that's the key to success right now until other guys are developed. But I think doing that's going to be very successful because that's an easy offense to run. That's easy. If guy breaks loose, throw it deep. If not, check down your tight ends, check down to your running backs. So,
yeah,
I think it's going to happen.
We got a question. Who do you guys think will start at left tackle this year? I'll give that to Amir first.
Left tackle. I am going with. I think they're going to try Jerron Christensen at first, and then just going into camp, and then the position will be won by somebody else, not currently on the roster.
So QB or left tackle X?
Left tackle X, yeah.
What do you think, JD?
I think the Redskins are going to look at the draft and say, do we want a lot of picks or a high pick? And they're probably going to want a lot of picks. I think they're going to take the trade for Riley Reif, and they'll play him for 1 year, and we'll get a couple picks out of it. We'll play him for 1 year. If we don't do that, I think I really hope we do that because I would love to see us play Cornelius Lucas at the right tackle and not have Morgan Moses start anymore. I don't know if I need to express how much I don't like Morgan Moses.
You don't need to.
I don't like. Okay.
I was thinking about bringing that up to you just a second. I said, well, maybe we can just kick back and put Morgan Moses over there at left tackle, and he'll just stand still for the for the duration.
That's not funny.
No,
but
that's
Riley
one
Reif.
of the funniest plays I've ever seen, though. Was that Thursday night?
What Thursday night? What?
It was the Thursday night game against the Giants.
That's
14. And like he's there at right tackle, and he's just there. It's like he's like.
You're gonna get me doing exactly what my name says. I'm about to rant.
Do it.
Oh,
I'm about to rant.
What? Okay.
That's why I hate 106.1. They call him and let him on the show, and he gets to give excuses as to why he keeps holding people. That frustrates me so much. Every week they give him the airtime to explain that he's not holding when he's clearly holding. Okay, no, the referees don't make him jump off or false start. God, it irritates me so much. He will false start or jump off or hold every freaking play, and he doesn't hold himself accountable. I can't stand it. I can't stand it at all. I don't know how many times during the Alex Smith year he killed so many drives because he'd jump offside or start false start or hold. Yeah. When you're running a 10-yard at a time offense, you can't freaking get a 5-yard penalty and ruin it. I'm going to stop. It just frustrates me. And 106.1 gave him the license to come on every week and give excuses as to why he's being penalized instead of him going and watching he'd be like, he'd tell fans, go watch the game film. I'm not holding. I'm like, go watch the game films and figure out why you're getting called for holding. You're the professional, not us. Jesus. Sorry.
He's just getting hold. Oh, you're good. My favorite.
I love it.
Favorite 2 things from Morgan Moses this season was against San Francisco when he didn't move. He didn't move.
Well, he never moves, but.
No, but he didn't move when he was still stuck in his stance, and he did not move.
To be fair, it was very muddy that day. That's what he said.
Oh,
on 106.1.
Now, he went, in the words of Kevin Harlan, he went brain new. No, Clark Kellogg says brain neutral. That's what he went. And then what was it after Haskins went over there and talked to them? What do I need to do to help you? What do I need to do? And Morgan's looking at it, and you got Bergstrom over there like, what? I'm not paying attention to him. And then he had the audacity, like you say, he went on his little platform, he went on his little stump with 106 in the fan, and he was like, Dwayne's got to understand this. Dwayne's got to understand this. Um,
Dwayne's the rookie, and you're the
right,
veteran.
you got to help him out, and he's trying to put the team. Well, sorry, Jay. So y'all just turned a sunny day into a snowstorm in like 2 minutes. But no, I mean, you're absolutely right. He's not accountable for what he does, the mistakes that he does. And to this point, why don't you bring back and Ogun? He brings up a good point too.
I just read that comment.
Why don't you bring Donald Penn back?
I'd rather have
Mark. You said Jason Peters, right?
Yeah. For a year.
I mean, yeah, you can bring him back for a year, or I just don't trust former Eagles. That's all. But the Morgan Moses. I'm glad. Is his contract up next year? At the end of next year?
We talked about that last
We could cut him right now and save money, but we could cut him right now and save like $5 million. He's worth $8. He costs $8 million this year. If we cut him, we save $5, and he's only 3.5 on the books. Trust me, I've analyzed this of how we can get rid of the guy.
Morgan Moses is the reason why I can't sleep on Sunday nights. Like after games, he is the reason why I cannot sleep, and then I go to sleep, and I'm like,
I would bring Donald Penn back to play the right tackle.
Yep.
I'll bring him back to play right tackle in a heartbeat. I'll bring him back to play right tackle and play Cornelius Lucas at the left one. I'll take those chances, but I do not. I really want Morgan Moses gone. Sorry.
And then the one thing about Don Penn was last year, he wasn't even that. I thought Donald Penn did good for what he was brought into.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, just saying, maybe he was the reason why Eric Flowers looked so good.
I've heard something. I've heard he did the best he could, but he was gassed a lot. He was tired a lot. Like he did come in training camp like last minute, so that's understandable a little bit. I didn't think he did bad. I didn't feel like Case Keenum and Haskins were running for their lives most of the games.
No.
I honestly don't feel that way at all. I don't feel they were running for their lives most games. So I personally don't feel that way. I mean, I'll look up the stats if everyone wants to, but I don't feel like they were running for their lives.
Yeah.
So I thought the worst part of the line last year was the right side.
Oh yeah.
I thought Brandon Sheriff was mediocre last year. I don't think he was just as bad a problem as Morgan Moses was last year. That's why I was iffy on re-signing him. I mean, at least franchise tagging him. But if he's healthy and he plays to his potential, that's why I didn't mind the Brandon Sheriff part. But I didn't feel the offensive line was one of our major issues last year. I think it was everything else. The fact that we didn't have a true passing game, they could just key off on the running game. And then when we actually started passing pretty well, it opened everything else up. Look at the Carolina game. Even the threat of passing really opened up our running game.
Yeah, and the sample size that we got of guys really helped too, I think.
Yeah. And I love it seeing them run people over.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll see though. But a lot to be done. Hopefully, we won't be disappointed Thursday night, and there won't be any trades. And the point of the matter is, you're either going to get a bulldozer with Chase Young, or if you trade back, hopefully you can get a Chase Simmons. Isaiah Simmons? Lord have mercy. I don't know where I got that from, but I think he's a little undervalued because
that's what it's the same thing as like Austin Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right.
It's the same thing, Austin Cooper.
But I have said this before.
The great catching running back, Austin Cooper.
Yeah.
I will say this again, and I'm on the record saying the Redskins cannot mess this up at 2. They can't. I will put money on it. They will. They cannot mess this up. They won't mess.
What do you say if? What do you say if Miami calls and they offer us 3 number 1s this year and they're number 2 this year?
They can't mess up. I still think I even if you pass up on it, and Ron kind of did the logic about it, like saying, hey, we got to get if we're going to trade back for picks, they got to match the impact of what you would have got at the number 2 spot. So I think you get more. You still get more bang for your buck. So I don't think they can mess it up. You'll get that. You probably get a wide receiver instead of getting your defensive lineman. You might get your offensive tackle. So right there, we take care of 2 of your needs in that first round.
I think we take care of 3. That's three first.
Yeah, and you can get your tight end too. So
well, I actually think if we do that, I mean, you're gonna get Jeffrey Okudah or you're gonna get Isaiah Simmons.
Right.
And then the next pick, you're gonna get an offensive, or you're probably gonna get Jerry Jeudy. That's his name.
Yeah, from Alabama.
He would be available. I'm pretty sure at 18. He might go sooner, but he might be available at 18. And then later in that pick, you draft your other tackle.
Right.
You draft a tackle, and then you have a second. And then you have a second rounder where you can either. I would honestly trade that pick, trade down and get more picks, and then draft your tight end in the 3rd round. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you're offered 4 picks like that this year, it's hard to say no. I mean, I don't know. It's just hard to say no to that.
Like, you got to get a New Orleans Saints Ricky Williams bundle like you did back in 2000. Like, you can get that. Like, I'm willing to make a sacrifice to get that much capital. Because what did that draft bring? It brought you Chris Samuels, LeVar Arrington. You got 2 of the first 3 picks that year in 2000, and those were guys. They were impact players from the jump. Really, Samuel started from his rookie year. Was there for 9 years. LeVar Arrington, if he didn't have it out with some of the people internally, he probably would still been there. He was a pretty good. He was a real good linebacker, above average, made a Pro Bowl. So, who's to say you can't reassess and re-get that value back? So
it really depends. Yeah.
No,
if you're really that desperate for Chase, you could literally trade those picks and then trade back to the 3rd pick with the picks you've already accumulated, and just keep the 2nd round pick, and you'd still just acquire an extra pick.
Yeah, but
do what?
That, but you can do that. Just it's a.
There's no certainty. There's no certainty. That's the problem.
Certainty. I mean,
hey, I watched the movie Draft Day. Anything's possible. All right.
I mean, yeah.
I love that movie.
Costner's an extremely handsome gentleman. So.
Yes. Yeah, but just saying. I'm just saying.
I gotta watch that movie. I haven't watched Draft Day.
It's good. You should watch it.
I have not watched it. I know.
Even though it's about the Browns.
The Browns. Yeah, that's fine. No, I just haven't. And you think you got all this time in the world now to watch movies and catch up. So, my Thursday night's already booked up. So I gotta put my DVR on. But you fellas have any final thoughts before, because we have entered hour 2 of this, so I think we may have squeezed the orange on this, but it is a great discussion. So you guys got any final thoughts before Thursday?
What is your guys' expectation for this year?
You want to go first, Amir?
I mean, record-wise?
Yeah, if you want to go that route, yeah.
I think we are good for another 3 to 5 wins at most. I'm more leaning on the 3 side, so I'm guessing we're going to be 6-10. So that's my expectation for this year: 6-10.
Corey?
So I am thinking that the Redskins will be very competitive in 2020, depending on whenever the season starts. I believe that they will pick up 4 more wins this year, 3 to 4 more wins, which will put them at 7-9, maybe 5 more, put them at 8-8. I think the biggest thing we need to look at is not the overall record this year, but is the product that they put on the field, because the team's going. I think the team will struggle but I think it's more of the fight in the dog this year. After a 3-13 season last year, and Ron Rivera and company having to work virtually to get their team up to speed. So I think that's where we're going to be at, is somewhere third, fourth spot in the NFC East.
Okay. I look at it a little bit different. I think
Mm-hmm.
with the shortened off season, I think we have to focus on what's the easiest part of our game is going to translate to the field. That's defense. I think defense is going to be the cornerstone right out the gate, and with a limited training camp and preseason, I think our defense is going to be what's going to win us games. And I think with our front seven, we're going to do a lot better than people anticipate. If you look at our division, Lions or Giants do not have a good offensive line. The Dallas has a decent one, but they just had their All-Pro center retire, and the Eagles, their offensive line is not great, but it's not bad either. I think we're going to do a lot better than people anticipate. So I think we're going to rely heavily on our defense, and then we're going to rely on our running game. And I think we're going to go like somewhere between 7-9, 8-8, or 9-7.
Yeah.
I think that's the ceiling for this year is 9-7, maybe 10-6 if a couple games bounce our way.
Yeah.
But if you look at our schedule, I think we have definitely some winnable games. And like I said, I think with our defense, a lot of the time this year, all we have to do is just not lose. That's the biggest thing this year is I think a lot of times under Jay Gruden, we played to not lose, and we'd end up losing.
Mm-hmm.
I think this year we're going to play to win, and we're just not going to lose. Now, if that mentality makes sense, we're going to play to win, but we're not going to play to the point where we're so passive that we end up losing in the process.
Right.
If that makes sense. So
No, I got you.
I think the focus on defense is going to be big, especially adding Chase Young, switching to a 4-3. We have a lot more. This is a good comment here about culture. I think a lot of things are changing.
Yeah.
And those things, you'd be surprised how quickly culture can change when you get rid of some bad apples and bad eggs. And I think, like I said, starting Haskins, I think the team rallied around him last year, and we'll see. I'm really excited about this season. I mean, I love football. I just can't wait for football.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
so
no,
tired of being cooped up watching reruns of stuff on Netflix and Hulu and whatnot. I need some sports.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. And you said you talked about culture, and I thought that was a great point you brought up. And the key culture hire is Thomas Davis, I think, because you got Ron Rivera put somebody in there, high character guy, a guy that already knows what Ron's all about, and he's going to put him in that locker room. And the guy who's had to deal with adversity, and he's been effective. So I think he's going to help out a lot of these young guys and help them become better professionals.
I mean, you have Ron Rivera, who is a leader of men.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Jay Gruden was an offensive coordinator who was made into head coach. I actually like Jay Gruden. I just wanted him as an offensive coordinator. I thought he had some good ideas and good.
You wanted to smoke with him. That's what it was.
You what?
You wanted to smoke with him. That's what it was.
Nah, wasn't that, but okay. But no, I actually I have a podcast I did years ago with a friend. I was like, 2 weeks before they hired him, I was like, I want him to get Jay Gruden as offensive coordinator because he does a lot of good stuff with tight ends, and I like the way that the offense looked in Cincinnati when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
But we just never. I think we overstretched on what we wanted out of him. This year, I think we're going to simplify it. We're going to make it very simple for Haskins. You have your deep look. You have your check down to the linebackers or the tight ends. Then you check down to your running back. And that's why we signed J.D. McKissick. We have to have something that can mimic something similar to Christian McCaffrey. And we know that guys can catch the ball in the backfield. I'm pretty confident Bryce Love can if he's healthy and he makes the team. So I think by what I'm seeing, I think we're focusing on that. And with our weapons, I think that definitely is going to be a focus of the offense this year. So a lot put together: 7-9, 8-8, 9-7.
Yeah, I think that's right in the wheelhouse. But like you said, I think this will be a much improved team. I think they'll be a whole lot more competitive, and they're going to have a better. I don't know. I think they're going to handle. They're going to walk a lot better because of Ron. Like you said, he's a leader of men, and then the problem is you get a lot of coordinators out here now that think they can be head coaches, or people think they can be head coaches because they put up good numbers. Um, Jay just wasn't that guy. I never got that feeling from Jay that he was the guy who was going to be a leader of men. And
The thing about Jay as well is I don't think he was actually given the reins properly. Like he wasn't allowed to coach. He wasn't allowed to pick his players. He wasn't allowed to just focus on coaching. He had to do a press conference for why they released the guy or something like that. That wasn't his responsibility to do those things. That's the general manager's job. So I mean, I think it's a trickle down effect. The fish rots from the head down. Yeah, the fish rots from the head down.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm curious about. Really is if Dan Snyder is going to let Ron Rivera coach the team and draft his players and be the final say and the final word on everything. That's really what the question mark is. We can hire the best coach ever, but if the owner can't keep his nose out of the coach's business, that's really what the problem is.
And I think he's going to give him an opportunity. I think Dan is going to stay out of it, and for one reason only. This cat right here, Joe Jackson Gibbs, went down there. It was in Charlotte and actually met with him. Met with Ron Rivera as well too. So I think Joe Gibbs gives him the blessing. You know, Dan loves Joe Gibbs. I think he's going to leave him alone and be like, "Hey, Joe likes you. Coach Gibbs likes you. I'm just going to let you do your thing." So I think that's a plus, and I don't think Joe has ever been involved in the hiring process of a coach since he left. So I think that's a big green flag for Ron Rivera that he's going to have total autonomy.
I think Dan finally also realized one other thing. In football, you can't make one big free agent signing and your team turns around. It's too much of a team sport. I think he looks at it and thinks it's like basketball. Like, you sign this guy in free agency and this big name, and all of a sudden you go from winning 20 games out of 80, and now you're winning 45 games with one signing. Football is not like that. Football is a team-built sport. You have to build camaraderie. You have to build unity. He ruined RG3 because RG3 would win a game with his teammates, and then the guys want to go have a drink, and there's the owner pulling up, taking them out to steak dinner. And his offensive line's going off drinking by themselves rather than being treated to a drink with their quarterback they spent the whole day protecting, so on and so forth. And I think Dan is starting to understand that his way is just not working. Hopefully that's what he's understanding. Hopefully it's not just like, he's not going to change his mind the next day. I hope that's not the case. But
and I think there's some serious problems with Dan just as a personality. He's very awkward wee man. So
I think he's too much of a fan.
Yeah, and I think that is
that's not a bad thing, but I think he is too much of a fan.
I think it's his best and worst quality, to be honest with you. That he's a fan. That's what him and his dad did.
I think he's a very emotional owner in the wrong way, whereas like Jerry Jones is emotional about his team winning and losing, and Jerry Jones is emotional in a good way because he'll go out and spend the money and re-sign the players and stuff. In some ways it's good, some ways it's bad. But I think he's Dan Snyder's too emotional in a bad way. Where like Ron will lose one game, and Dan Snyder will have him in his office next morning and tell him he wants things changed, rather than understanding it's a process. So
and I think, and another big thing about Dan is the mistake that he's made is he has allowed and I hate picking on him but it's true though. He's allowed the DC sports media to control the narrative about him, and people don't really.
Well, that's actually his fault. That's his fault.
Right.
Yeah.
No. That's it. That's his biggest flaw is that he let them control the media, whether it's the Washington Post, 106.7 The Fan, he has let them control the media, control the narrative about him, and then he went and bought a radio station that was Redskin propaganda, pretty much,
Right.
with Doc Walker and all those boys and stuff. So, I think, sometimes I hate to say it, but I do feel bad for the guy. But another part of me is like, what took you so long, pal?
I mean, I honestly think he does want to win.
Yeah.
I just think he just doesn't understand how to do it the right way.
He wants to do it his way, and that's the biggest thing that they said about it. He wants to do it. And another thing that's bad about him, they went to the playoffs his first year when he bought them. They went to the playoffs. They won the division. They won a playoff game at home. And he's like, I think I got this figured out. Not realizing this was a team that had been working out in the late 90s who just had run into bad luck. Like back in 96, 97, they had bad luck. They had that off year in 98. And then they came back. They finally got another quarterback that was
Brad Johnson.
In his prime, and Brad Johnson. After having Gus Frerotte, who wasn't that bad. He was a Pro Bowl player like 3 seasons prior to that. And then they had Trent Green too. So, I think he outsmarted himself in that respect.
He out-Redskins himself.
Right, he really did. Well, he's the reason why we say you out-Redskins yourself. Because, I mean, all his talent came from like the mid-90s. You had Westbrook, who was okay. You had Steven Davis, Skip Hicks. You did have, oh God, what's his name?
Still had Darryl Green. I think he still had Darryl Green at that point.
I think that's a reason why Marty Schottenheimer was only here a year was Darryl Green. But I'm not going to say any blasphemy about that. I have a whole conspiracy theory about that.
Did we have who was our running back? Steven Davis.
Yeah, Steven Davis was, and Skip Hicks too.
Yeah. Mike Sellers was our fullback.
Yeah, Sellers was a fullback, and
dude, he make a great tight end right now. Damn. Just saying.
Yeah,
he convert to a good tight end. Jeez.
Yeah.
So they
I
built
thought
a lot
Darryl
of
Young
it.
could have been serious.
Did they have Champ Bailey?
Could catch the ball really well.
Yeah, Champ Bailey. They had Champ Bailey back in '99. They drafted him.
Okay, so it was '98. Okay, never mind.
No, it was '98. So you had some other good pieces there, but then they decided to go out and spend all this money on these old aging players. Bruce Smith chasing a sack record, Deion Sanders chasing money, Mark Carrier trying to chase a ring. So that I mean, that's where it went wrong. He, like you said, he out Redskinned himself, and that's where out Redskin comes from.
Yeah, it really is.
But hey, it took you 20 years, but I think we're finally starting to figure that out. And he's still like the
trust
youngest.
The process.
Yeah, he's still he's still he's still the youngest owner. Not now, no, because the technically the de facto owner is Pat Boland's youngest daughter. De facto, so I don't know. I had to check that. He's at least in the top 3 youngest, so y'all better buckle up. We still got him for another 30 years, so he's only 50, 53, 55, so but
something like that. He bought the team when he was like 30?
Yeah, he was
35.
Yeah. What were you doing at 35? Well, I bought my sports franchise team. And you gotta think it's been eating at him too, because the Washington Valor won a championship.
And Washington Valor, the Mystics.
The Mystics, football wise, and then the Defenders were doing pretty good at that time. So he's got to be hot that he's not winning. And other teams who didn't have, like the Capitals, didn't have a championship when he won.
Apparently, there's a professional tennis team that won a championship in DC as well.
The Castles won. The Washington Capitals won. Even in DC, they weren't even the Nationals. They were in Canada when he first bought the team. So DC didn't even have a World Series championship since like the early 20s. So you gotta think he's getting itchy for this. I mean,
if he gets one title,
like you said, it's gonna be the biggest thing in the world if Dan gets it.
I mean, I'm going to be there if they win.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at
I'll
that
be
parade.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come craft
my-
Boy
my-
Scouts and we'll go.
Yeah. 6-hour drive, y'all. But
You know we're going. You know we go anyways.
yeah, I know. I'm
You
done.
can't tell me if the Redskins didn't
You
win.
know, you get
the
to Pittsburgh, Corey, and you can ride with me. We'll carpool.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
How far are you from Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Well, hey.
Is that further away or is that closer?
What is Pittsburgh?
Okay, how's this? I'll fly into Pittsburgh. JD and I will come pick you up.
This is
Corey,
what you do.
And then we'll
No.
drive to DC.
Amir, this is what you do. You fly into Charleston, West Virginia, and then we can meet. We can meet almost in the middle. 'Cause I think that's the booth. Yeah. Because
I'm 4 hours from DC, so.
Oh yeah, and then we can go from Charleston to DC, and then we'll be there. I think that's about midway point. I think from in between Pittsburgh and where I'm at. So, yeah, but yeah, it'll be a huge party when the Redskins win, if the Redskins win. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I always hear I hear a lot of trash talk from in Pittsburgh. That's where I live, and they're always like, "Oh, look, I'm like, listen, my team hasn't done anything for almost 30 years, or like 20 over 25, almost 20, 25 years or more, and I'm like, we still have the 6 most titles."
Yep.
I'm like, so we've done nothing for almost 30 years now, other than we won a title in 92, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
at the end 91
long, almost 30 years we haven't won anything, and we still have the 6 most titles.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, I saw something the other day, the most wins. We're top 10 in most wins still.
Yeah.
And winning percentage, I think we're up there in winning percentage. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know we're top 10 in wins. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're approaching 640 some wins all time. So yeah, you tell them Yinzers they need to calm down up there, and
Well, Yinzer's got Fragile Ben. And they're probably going to sign Jameis Winston. I keep telling them that. You guys are signing Jameis Winston, right? It's like, no, we're not. I'm like, yeah, you are. Because you guys can't get a quarterback, and Ben's going to get injured. So they don't believe me, though.
All right. So Jay Martell said he can vouch for you because he lives in Sharon Mariah of Pennsylvania and not hear the same stuff. So, okay. Yeah, but, well, guys, I think we covered. We kind of shelled out everything. I'm excited. We're gonna bring number 99 to Washington. You can't mess that pick up. JD, we appreciate you coming on here with us, buddy, as always.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, check. He is. Oh shoot! I skipped one.
Huh?
We gotta get Juan Gotti up in here. I know the OBJ stuff doesn't seem realistic, but if we do get him, I would be happy because Ron doesn't play that shit. He's going to set Odell straight, and if he still tries to act like a little, okay.
What I would hope he would do is show the day, just keep replaying the kicking net just over and over again. It's I'm sorry, you want to back talk to me? Why don't you go back talk to the kicking net and see what whoop your ass again?
Yeah. Shout out to Juan Gotti. Dude, brother man's on point.
Yeah,
but go check out Juan Gotti if y'all haven't already. He does some good videos. But yeah, I ain't putting over no Odell. We don't need that drama because JD already put that bad mood Juju Magumbo up in the air.
I said desperation.
Like you gonna have one
desperation
guy who likes to verbally assault the police and his girlfriend with his children in front of him,
and he threw a bag of things at him.
Yeah, and then a bag of Richards in front of him.
Yeah, Richards.
And then you got that Trailblazer and Josh Gordon. To the point of the
hey, it's legal now, so he won't get suspended for it.
Right? Yeah, but I'm just saying, to the point, I don't feel bad for Josh Gordon because the man's gotten so many opportunities to get help, and then Odell, I don't want that headache. I don't want to not I don't want to feel dirty when I rooted for somebody. I did it so much when I was when I watched the Nationals and Bryce Harper. I felt dirty rooting for Bryce Harper,
you felt like you had to take a shower afterwards and
right.
sins.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Hold on. I gotta fix this.
Go ahead.
There's plenty of receivers. Taylor Gabriel, Demaryius Thomas, that we can get if we're desperate. Just so I know, Tavon Austin, Jerron Brown, Marquise Lee, Chris Hogan. So there's plenty. Ryan Grant. There's plenty of receivers. Jordan Matthews. If we're desperate, we can get other than those two. Okay. I was just listening to off the top of my head. I know that if we are super desperate and we need talent, we could get.
I'm sorry, Ryan Gruden hasn't been signed by Jacksonville for a 5-year, $80 million deal.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah,
stop it.
probably
Jay's
not
head coach yet. He can't do it. Yes, I am a Nats fan, Juan Gotti. Yes, so I don't want to feel dirty when I'm rooting for somebody. I got over that a long time ago. Had to get over that. Well, I got over it last year, so, But, hey, man.
Okay, so there's other guys out there, okay?
Okay.
Just throw it out there. There's other guys we could get other than those two. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Jay. We get in this conversation. We just keep on expounding on it. So Jay Martell says, see that, ladies and gentlemen? They're at it again. Yes, we are. We're gonna keep. I told you we ain't gonna stop. I thought I told you ain't gonna stop. We ain't gonna stop. Whatever.
We don't script this. We don't script it.
No, we really don't. We don't. We had
we have an outline. That's it.
I will tell you this. JD had did an outline for us. And we looked at it. He even asked us. He said, "Was there a problem?" And then we got to it. And basically, the three of us said, "To hell with it." Because we passed the outline about an hour ago.
That intro, the conclusion was like an hour ago.
Yeah, right.
That part of the outline was like an hour ago. So.
Exactly. And y'all won't see this video uploaded until tomorrow because it takes StreamYard because. Last week, it took until the middle of the afternoon the next day for it to upload. So it won't be uploaded unless you got the link. So you got to have the link. But yes, JD, we appreciate you, buddy, for coming on. Look forward to doing this again, probably when it gets warmer. Stay safe. Wash them damn hands. Do something nice for somebody. Not you, JD. Yeah, you probably are doing stuff. But I'm telling everybody, do something nice for somebody. Amir, as always, sir, it is a pleasure to work with you on this channel. Thank you guys for your comments. Ogun, we appreciate it. We love you too, buddy. But check out JD. Check out him on Redskins Rant. It's in the description on the YouTube channel. I'm
commenting right now so everyone can look at it.
Go check out Juan Gotti too, because him and Ed Oliver, they did a video not too long ago. So check him out. Skins Fan All Day was on here earlier. Go check him out as well too. But we appreciate you guys. Go Chase Young. That's who we're gonna get. So I don't have to lose any money on that one. Not that I'm a betting man. Mm-hmm. So we appreciate you, and as we always say here on the Warpath, because I get it mixed up because I've got some kind of dyslexia when I say it. Love, peace, and hail. And we'll be talking to you real soon. We're out, y'all.
See ya.